膝を抱えて生きてることを言えなくなってた汚れきった消えない傷を痛めつけながら穏やかな君の夢風がきの言葉言う華やかな思いを雨の日も晴れの日もいつの日も愛してるそれだけはいいものだずっと変わりはしないだけど約束は Alright, now we can start. We're starting the worst, my least favorite part of episode 5. It's probably gonna be a lot of reading too. Alright. All the pieces of the game board were gathered. All the humans, witches, furniture, and the witches on an even higher level had gathered in one place. That place was like a solemn cathedral with an unbelievably high ceiling, white stonework, golden ornaments. Though there were windows, there were no entrances or exits. It was a strange, strange place. But for some reason, no one wondered where this strange place was, because they were not given the right to think of this place as strange. The pieces! Have they all been gathered? Yes, they have. Well done! What a show! I wonder just how many people there are. No matter how many we see, every being outside the 18 is a phantom. Making you acknowledge them is what my game's all about. The three witches were seated on special thrones set upon a very high balcony. In the center sat the Game Master Lambda Delta, and on either side of the semicircular balcony sat Berncastel and Beatrice facing each other. Below them, Erika ran forward, lifting the corners of her skirt and bowed respectfully. Great Lady Lambda Delta, we thank you for granting our request for an assembly. And Great Lady Berncastel, my master, please look forward to it. Though it may only be for a short while, I will most certainly make my master forget about that poison that torments her. Yes, I'm looking forward to it. I'd expect no less from my double, my piece. Erika and Berncastel exchanged cruel smiles that make anyone want to avert their gaze. Listen up, witches and humans! I hereby announce that this is the assembly of witches gathered. The core of illusions will now begin! The commander of the game spoke with words of power, though her words were spoken within such a vast space. They rang out with the force of a bell in a tower. Your lives and roles, as they correspond to this game, are over! The 5th game is now closed, and the 2400 answer session shall begin! Well, I'd like to get this started quickly, but why don't we have everybody quickly introduce themselves first? After all, there are so many people here. I am Lambda Delta, the Witch of Certainty, and the new commander of this game. Berncastel, Witch of Miracles. My goal is to penetrate Beatrice's illusion of the witch. I'm the Endless Witch Beatrice. My goals are to claim my own existence, and to protect Natsuhi and Kinzo. Battler, you come next in rank. I am Ushirimiya Battler. I'm fighting against Betos. No, against the witches. That's all. As I believe you know, you joined in on this game partway through. At this time this assembly of witches opens, you have yet to participate. You understand? I get it. You probably mean I don't have the right to speak for a while, right? Thank you for understanding. Even though Battler held a rank near that of the witches, he sat on the foremost of the benches shared with the other relatives, all by himself at one end. He met the gaze of Beato, who was up on the balcony. You might have said you were my arch enemy. Well, you aren't necessarily my only enemy. Let's take this game back. It belongs to us. Yeah. I almost said I was fighting against Beato's illusion of the witch. Since the beginning, Beato has been my only enemy. But right now, Erica and those witches who started toying around with Beato's tail are also my enemies. Who should I fight, and how? Maybe it's a good thing I don't have the right to speak for a while. I'll calm down and coolly watch over everything. I'm the detective and the one who called for this assembly of the witches, Furudo Erica. I will expose the culprit of the 5th game and stick a charming period on the end of this tale. Erica greeted the witches above and the humans behind her once again. I'm also looking forward to it. Okay, remaining pieces, introduce yourselves in whatever order. Humans, introduce yourselves, all of you. When 45 urged him to introduce himself, Ginzo stood up. I am Ushiromiya Ginzo. I slipped out of the study window and am hiding somewhere on Rokenjima. Ushiromiya Kraus. Currently I have been captured and am being confined somewhere. I'm Ushiromiya Eva. I'm alive. I'm Rudolph. The rest of us are all Ushiromiyas too, so I'll leave off the family name. I'm Ushiro... Rosa. I was killed on the first Twilight. Jessica. I also died in the first Twilight. I'm George. I also died in the first Twilight. Maria! I died, but look! I'm here talking! See? Dying isn't a big deal, right? I'm Ushiromiya Natsuhi. I am alive. Hideyoshi here. I was killed just a short while ago. Kirei. I'm still alive. Nanjo. I am also hanging in there. My name is Genji. I passed away in the first Twilight. I'm Shano. I'm still alive. I'm Kano. I'm also still alive. I'm Goda. Pleased to meet you, everyone. I am Kumasawa. Pleased to meet you. Now on to the witches. Everyone introduce yourselves. When you have to voice everybody, and you only have one voice, and you are... Virgilia's group could also be seen. Unlike the floor Beato's group was on, the second floor had a balcony that looked like a raised audience seating. And they sat there looking down as though they were at a theater. My name is Virgilia. I am Beatrice's teacher. I'm Gab. Making corpses disappear is my job. Run up. I'm in charge of making black tea. I greet you in the name of the 7 Sisters of Purgatory. I serve in the murder of Hideyoshi on the second Twilight. The 7 Sisters of Purgatory right here! Oh, thank God I could shorthand it. Let us then have the Lady Erica's furniture introduce themselves. Gertrude. I am an Assistant Inquisitor of Heresy. Cornelia. I am an Assistant Inquisitor of Heresy. The two of them could also be seen in the second floor audience seating. They sat apart from Virgilia's group. Then Dalnor, who was seated between the two, slowly stood up. I messed up, I'm sorry. She had the presence and dignity about her as though she was overseeing everything from that place. Dalnor Knox is my name. I am Lady Erica's primary assistant. Battler, I expect much from you. Please don't disappoint me. Let's just both give it our all we've got. Most of the time, there will be no need for a Dalnor to step forward. However, when the witch size plays around with ugly word games, I'll need to have Dalnor convict them. A miracle like the one in the study won't happen again. And finally, let us introduce ourselves. We are the Chester Sisters, Imperial Guards, who've been tasked with the management of proceedings at this assembly of witches. Hello, everyone! Nya nya! This ends the introductions of all pieces. A total of 38 people are present here. And that's how many voices we have to make so far. Just imagine what we'll have to do in episode 8! Hey. There are 38 characters in this 5th game, but if you added all the pieces from the previous games too, it would rise even higher. That doesn't include the future games! This game, which has so often been likened to chess, now has far more pieces than the chessboard. Very well! Then I guess we'll get started. Let the person who called this meeting begin! Oh, excuse me, Mr. Goat. Refill my tea. And some popcorn for me. Yeah, that's right. The one who decided demons ought to eat popcorn while watching a play was you, after all. Wait. Yeah, that's right. The one who decided demons ought to eat popcorn when watching a play was you, after all. Yes, I intend to enjoy this. And I could get some black tea and mustard miso. Erica, begin. I'm already starting to get bored. Are you sure it wasn't Keiichi's idea and Sumio Horoboshi? Yes, my master! Leave it to me! Order! Silence! At the sound of her voice, the Chester sister corps straightened up, lifted their right knees, and stamped down hard on the floor with their heels. My bad. Well, they don't deserve it. It became a low, deep rumble in the ground, and all the chatter in the cathedral disappeared instantly. As their eyes and expressions became even more hollow and empty, the room fell back into silence, almost as though they were a collection of wax models. Amidst this heavy silence, there was the sound of footsteps, as Erica walked out into the center where she could catch everyone's attention. When she signaled with her chin, a goat attendant appeared from behind the pillar, and carried a single plain chair out in the front and center of the room. It must have been the defendant's chair. I, Furuto Erica, will make an accusation. The murderer of the 5th game is... Ushiromiya Natsuhi! You are the culprit! Erica pointed at Natsuhi and spoke. The Natsuhi, waxed all alone, shook and regained its expression. It was an expression of panic. Chester sisters, please send the defendant to her chair. Understood. Wait, what are you doing? Let go of me! 45 and 410 both pinned Natsuhi's arms behind her back and led her to the chair in the center. Natsuhi resisted, but the Chester sisters were surprisingly strong and she couldn't do anything. She turned to the relatives for help, but they just remained silent like wax models. I, Furuto Erica, will now reconstruct why the crime was only possible for Ushiromiya Natsuhi. Beto, of course you'll be challenging this, right? Naturally. I'm the Ushiromiya family alchemist, Beatrice the Golden. Furuto Erica, I challenge you. Okay, I can't. Damn it! Sorry, something's in my throat. I was trying to hold that back. Pisses me off. Let's try again. Naturally, I'm the Ushiromiya family alchemist Beatrice the Golden. Furuto Erica, I challenge you. I'll take these false accusations you're trying to place on my master and tear them apart. Beatrice! Fear not, Natsuhi. You are my master, and you are the true head of the one-winged eagle engraved in your heart. Do not fear a crime you have not committed. At those words, Natsuhi jerked back and gulped. Her panic finally disappeared, and she stood up straight. That's true. I am Ushiromiya Natsuhi. I will confront any challenge that would disgrace the Ushiromiya family. How can you try a bluff like that in a situation like this? You really are the bully kid in every single fragment. So burn! Make your claims!
I cast the claim that a human, Ushirumi Natsuhi, is the culprit of this game.
And you too, Beto, okay?
I, Beatrice, claim that the culprit in this game is not human. I am the culprit.
Berncastle, who smiled daringly, and Beatrice, who smiled firmly, crossed gazes. Listen, witches and humans! 2 claims have appeared for a single trip. Is the culprit a human, Ushirumi Natsuhi? Is the culprit a witch, Beatrice? If the witch wins, the truth about the 5th game will disappear into the darkness. If Erica wins, the illusion of the witch will be wiped from the game board. In other words, for Beto alone, this is a vow that must not be lost. Are you prepared?
And what am I supposed to be preparing myself for? This has always been what I just wanted.
If Erica wins, the illusion of the witch will be destroyed. That means the existence of the witch will be denied. Beto was fighting for her life. However, this wasn't the only time she'd been fighting for her life. It had always been a life or death struggle, even when she fought with Balor. Because if Balor had won and destroyed the illusion of the witch in the previous games, Beto would have been destroyed. That's dirty. Erica alone has nothing to lose if she fails. I wonder. Lady Castle is not a compassionate person. I can't imagine she'd give a warm treatment to a piece that didn't perform to her expectations. It was inconceivable that the ruthless Berncastle would place no blame at all on a piece who had suffered defeat. Erica was probably fighting for her life just as much. The 2 claims would clash, and one would be weeded out. One would fall, and one would not leave this place alive. The only ones who had truly nothing to lose were those witches. Okay, no problems. Get started. In that case, I would like to go first. The murder of Hideyoshi is very simple. It should be impossible to suspect anyone other than Natsuhi. Except for the victim and Natsuhi, all of us were in the same room, correct? It really was simple. Except for Natsuhi, everyone had been inside the parlor. And because it was so simple, it was decisive.
No matter how you look at it, the one who killed Hideyoshi was Natsuhi. No, it's the other way around. No matter how you look at it, no one except for Natsuhi could have killed Hideyoshi. There's no room for discussion or debate.
I'm telling you that's a mistake! Maybe I don't have an alibi. However, I don't believe a lack of alibi proves that one is the culprit.
We know that Natsuhi is the only one without an alibi. But wait, the scene of the murder was a closed room. It should have been impossible for anyone, including Natsuhi, to have committed the crime in that room. Except for me, since I could have done it with magic.
I'll explain the closed room trick, the how done it later. For the time being, I'll start with the who done it. Because of the aforementioned, it's impossible to suspect any characters except Natsuhi regarding the murder of Hideyoshi.
Milady, it may be dangerous to press on any further than this. I agree. It's a fact that Natsuhi was hiding in the closet of Hideyoshi's room. When it comes to repeating things in red, they'll check to see who's in the room and you'll be cornered. Probably. Lady Lambda Delta is the commander of this game. If it suits her fancy, she'll set up Natsuhi as the culprit, regardless of the facts. If the typhoon passes and the police come to perform a scientific investigation, perhaps the true culprit will be identified, and the false accusation against Natsuhi will be lifted. However, in this closed-off Rokenjima, the police will not arrive for all eternity. In other words, the real truth will not be revealed. Inside this cat box that will never be opened, false charges that everyone accepts are worth no more or less than the truth. Their aim is most likely to use the simple murder of Hideyoshi to give the impression that Natsuhi is the culprit, before moving on to the first Twilight's reconstruction, which has more uncertain elements. It's not good at all to move forward with the Game Master suspecting us. We should take the initiative. Sure. Lady Lambda Delta, As you are well aware, a fair number of murders were committed during the 5th game. And we are skipping the rather lengthy chunk of time from midnight until the early morning. Skipping to Hideyoshi's murder and stepping backwards and forwards in time will only lead to confusion. It's my belief that we should follow events chronologically and in order, to the decision of yours, of course. Wait, though the decision is yours, of course. Objection. In the process of prosecuting the culprit, chronological order has no significance. Objection! Furuto Erika is trying to mix up the chronological sequence in order to create a false impression of the events.
Well, I'm not a fan of confusing things myself. I accept Beito's claim. Erika, start with the first twilight instead of jumping to the second.
I definitely saw Erika click her tongue. I understand, so this is a way of telling Rokenjima's tale. I was guided by Virgilia and met Beatrice. Reached the peak from which you can see everything below you and finally understood the truth of this world. This is that thing you were talking about earlier, Virgilia. Yes, that's right. Truth is very fragile in this place. As long as each side makes its own claim, different truths can exist at the same time. Yes, this really is a trial. Both sides put forward their own truths. This here truly is the broad tube trial that Virgilia once used as an analogy.
Then I will follow Lady Lambda Delta's orders and start from the first crime of the first twilight. As you know, at 2400 on October 4th, the first day, following a short break in the family conference, Natsuki left on her own, saying that she was going to bed early. Therefore, her alibi is completely lost from that time until the next morning.
The culprit is Shiromiya Natsuki because she is the only one without an alibi. I messed up. Oh, is that so? I believe there are several people besides Natsuki who has dubious alibis. Unless you can clear suspicion from all of them, I cannot allow you to call Natsuki the culprit. We cannot conclude that Natsuki is the culprit, as long as there are other people without alibis. Yes, I will read all the text. The claim has been made that Natsuki is the only one lacking an alibi between 2400 and 100. This is being used as a basis for claiming that she is the culprit. However, as long as the following possibilities exist, it is possible to conclude that this is the case. Was the crime also possible for Bal, who was in the guest house? Was the crime also possible for Nanjo, who was in the guest house? Was the crime also possible for Goto, who was in the guest house? Was the crime also possible for Kumasawa, who was in the guest house? Was the crime also possible for Geji, who was in the mansion? Was the crime also possible for Kraus, who was in the mansion? Was the crime also possible for the people in the mansion besides Natsuki? Was it possible for George and the others who were actually just plain dead? Is it possible there was a way to reach the second floor without passing through the lounge Erika was in? Is it possible the crime was committed before 2400? Is it possible that the crime was committed after 300? Is it possible the crime was committed outside the span of time between 2400 to 100? Is it possible that someone in the mansion committed the crime between 2400 and 300? There you go.
True. If Erika's gonna call Natsuki suspicious so confidently, she's first gonna show that everyone else has an alibi. Right, Bern?
Yes, of course. Erika will explain that perfectly. The culprit is Ushiromiya Natsuki because we will prove that everyone else has an alibi.
Of course, my master! In that case, I would like to explain things in order. Let's forget about Genji's murder for now and focus on the crime in the guest house. For this case, you'd like to suspect the servants who were in the guest house, right? On that night, Goda and Kumasawa were there. Isn't that right, you two?
When she turned to face the direction where those two were seated, those two wax models alone came back to life. They probably weren't even granted souls until they were allowed to speak. In that case, it would have been better if Natsuki's soul could have disappeared as well. Natsuki, who was in the defendant's chair, kept her soul the whole time, and was constantly hanging her head looking nervous. Goto hurried to his feet and answered Erika's question. Yes, that is correct. On that evening, I was alone in the guest house servant room. Well, look at my age. Staying up all night would be a heavy burden. So I returned to the waiting room of the guest house and went to bed right away on my own. Yes, yes! Doesn't that mean Goda and Kumasawa had lost their alibis? Kumasawa claims that she was sleeping alone in the waiting room. Goda claims he was alone in the servant room. Either of them should have had enough time to go to the cousin's room and commit murder. Nonsense! Why would we do something like that? That's right. How could I ever kill someone? We cannot conclude that Natsu is the culprit. After all, is the crime also possible for Kumasawa, who was in the guest house? Was the crime also possible for Goda, who was in the guest house? Natsui said it all. Both Kumasawa, who was sleeping alone in the waiting room, and Goda, who was alone in the servant room, are in the exact same situation as Natsuhi in her room. Both of them had lost their alibis.
Have no fear. I guarantee that neither of these two are murderers. First off, following dinner, Kumasawa left the mansion with me, and the others went to the guest house, entered the waiting room, and slept until morning. It's the same for Goda. Once he finished his job, he chatted with us in the lounge and went to sleep afterwards. Neither of them had the opportunity to commit murder.
So we're finally here. I see it's time for me to stand up as well. Your turn is over already, Erika. Go summon that bodyguard you rely on so much.
Beidou glanced at where Downor sat on the second floor audience seating. However, Downor just stared back with the usual expressionless eyes.
Repeat it. We have absolute proof of Goda and Kumasawa's alibis.
We refuse. Why give a hint to an enemy? There's no way we'd answer.
Uh-huh. Did you hear that, Lady Lambda Delta? They say they have no proof. How could they claim that Goda and Kumasawa have alibis without proof?
Good point! What do you say, Burn? Erika? How can you claim that Goda and Kumasawa have alibis?
Fall back, Erika. My opponent is down there over there. A mere human like you can be no match for a witch.
No. There's no need for Downor to step forward. In fact, it's precisely because a mere human will defeat a witch. Thus, the illusion of a witch will now be denied. So, go ahead. Use that red and blue as much as you like. I'm ready for it, okay?
In response to Erika's challenge, Beidou smiled boldly yet gracefully and slowly stood up. As they glared at each other between the floor and the balcony. Goda and Kumasawa have no alibis. The two of them were in the guest house and could have reached the cousin's room to commit murder at any time. Unless you can deny the possibility, you cannot treat Natsui as the culprit. Beidou's blue truce struck out rapidly. The curtain had finally dropped. The ball had begun. A human like Erika can't use any red. How could she turn this around without calling down Noah? Though Erika cannot use it, her master, Lady Brincastle, can. We mustn't let our guards down.
Blue Truth Ballad! What will you do, Burn? Will you or Downor step in instead? It is still not my turn. And it is not Lady Brincastle's turn either.
Yes, that's right. There's no need for us to show up for something like this. This is important precisely because a mere human like Furuta Erika will defeat you, Beidou. Because you'll be defeated by a human. We'll know. We'll all know the fake witch who calls herself Beatrice the Golden is nothing more than a subhuman phantom.
If you really could do that, it'd be totally entertaining. Very well, Erika. Let's see what you've got. Explaining for the first person, Kumasawa is extremely simple. Kumasawa, stand.
Yes?
Kumasawa, from the time you went to bed last night to the time you were informed about the crime in the morning, did you ever leave the waiting room?
No! I was sound asleep until morning. I really was.
The truth is, after dinner last night, I had a chat with Ava, and she told me something very interesting. I tried that out myself.
And what exactly is that? You don't mean...
That's right. It's what's cornered and sealed Kinzo in his study. I learned that you can create a seal by putting something between a door and a frame.
Are you kidding? Did she actually do that in Kumasawa's waiting room? Erika was in the guest house. There's no obstacle for having her been capable of doing that.
After all, it was an unsettling night, and a massive amount of gold had just been discovered. Many sorts of crimes might have occurred. Where there is a detective, there will be a crime. I foresaw some kind of crime would take place, so I used this to seal away the people whose alibis might otherwise be lost.
Erika held a small folded piece of brown paper high in the air.
After I watched Kumasawa, who returned to the guest house with me, and say goodnight after entering the waiting room, I used this to seal the door. Then in the morning, when the crime was discovered and caused a big uproar, I immediately went to check Kumasawa's waiting room, where I confirmed that the seal was still set. Therefore, I can prove Kumasawa's alibi.
Kumasawa has an alibi. Oops. Uh-oh. Good. A wonderful alibi. Not a single gap. Kumasawa returned to the guest house with Erika, went to the waiting room to sleep, and never left the room until morning. In other words, after Kumasawa returned to the guest house, she never went to the second floor until morning. The proof that Erika had shown was elevated by Bernkastel and became the red truth. This truth, which had become red, could no longer be overturned even by Beto. In other words, in that instant, Kumasawa's perfect alibi had been absolutely guaranteed. Then what about Goda?
Goda holed up in the servant room right after reaching the guest house. I sealed him up in the same way. Then when Rosa returned at 1 a.m., I happened to notice her when I stepped out into the corridor. I let Goda, who was still in the servant room, know this. At that moment, the seal was still in place, so from the time we arrived at the guest house until 1 a.m., Goda never left the servant room. And afterward, he was with me in the lounge until 3 a.m. And after 3 a.m., I was on the second floor. So I can guarantee that Goda didn't come to the second floor.
Erika's seal proves that Goda was holed up in the servant room until 1 a.m. And Erika has proven his alibi from, until then, 3 a.m. She was passing the time in the lounge with him. And Erika has also proven that he has never set foot on the second floor until the morning after. In other words, after Goda returned to the guest house, he never went up to the second floor until morning. Goda has an alibi. Uh-oh.
Red truth valid. Well done, Erika. The alibi to your seal on that door has been acknowledged by Byrne and elevated to the status of red truth. Thank you very much, my master. I am the detective. I may be human, but I can use the red truth despite that and surpass humans.
So now you claim to have surpassed humans. It's 1,000 years too early for you to talk like that conceited brat. Uh-oh.
It'll be a pain to have you try anything funny, so I'll make this clear now. In fact, I should have done this in the beginning. I apologize for being so roundabout. This is the situation around the guest house at 2400. The gold was found. An emergency family meeting was called for, and Battler went to the mansion with the relatives. I, the three cousins, Dr. Nanjo, Goda, and Kumasawa remained in the guest house. I have already explained Goda and Kumasawa's alibis. George, Jessica, and Maria were playing cards in the cousins' room. I actually joined them for just a little bit, and I clearly witnessed that they were alive at that time. My master, I ask that you please repeat this.
Yes, I'll respond. At 2400 in the guest house, George, Jessica, and Maria were alive. In the second floor's cousin room, Nanjo, Goda, and Kumasawa are on the first floor. And since there's no need to hold off on it anymore, I'll confirm that all the victims so far are dead. George, Jessica, Maria, Rosa, and Genji really are dead. How could they play at being dead with their necks sliced open like that?
No murder occurred before 2400. guarantee that George's group is dead. Uh-oh. Thanks for repeating that, my master! If we hadn't made these things clear, you might have started going on about how they were already dead before I guaranteed everyone's alibis. Or that they might actually dead after all.
Good.
Unsurprisingly, Beato's side couldn't get away with the simple plan of claiming the victims were only playing dead. But in order to overcome Goda and Kumasawa's alibis, it should have been possible to suppose that the crime occurred before those doors were sealed. However, the opponent had predicted this move perfectly. It had been shown in red the crime did not occur before the time period covered by Erika's alibis. Got it! That's the last time the victims were confirmed to be alive! I wish you said that in the beginning. This means we can ignore everything that happened before 2400.
To go even further, at 2400, Natsuki, Kraus, and Genji were in the corridor on the second floor of the mansion. All the remaining people in the family conference in the dining hall. Of course, at that point in time, no murder had occurred. Genji was also alive.
We confirmed that those thought to be inside the mansion 2400 were hiding inside the mansion, and then it has already been shown that none of them left the mansion 4100, excluding Natsuki. Oh, my bad. Isn't this something Erika observed? But we can't move the game forward without selling it. Very well, I'll acknowledge that red truth. Thank you very much for that red truth, my master! Since Erika had been in the guest house, it was only natural that she could explain the situation there. However, since she hadn't been in the mansion at the time, explaining the situation over there would have been extremely difficult for her. Beato would have normally attacked there with the blue truth, saying that the people in the dining hall had all agreed to keep the same story. As someone snuck out of the dining hall, and they might have committed murder in the guest house. However, because Byrne had instantly settled that matter with red text, Beato had completely lost her chance to strike back.
Damn it! Very troublesome to think that we would be put at such a disadvantage. This is almost the exact opposite of Riche's fights with Banner. In fact, the situation might be even worse than it was back then.
At a glance, the fight between the two of them resembled our previous fights. However, there were some vital differences. The first was whether or not Beato was the game master. The Beato who fought against me was the game master, so she knew all the truth. That's why she was able to use the red text at will. However, the current Beato isn't the game master. She's just a single piece on the game board. In other words, even Beato doesn't know the truth. So you could say that Beato now is in the same position I once was. Also, though Erika may seem to be in the position that I once was, the situation for her is totally different. She connected to the witch called Byrne Castle. Even though she isn't the game master, she's capable of elevating Erika's statements to become red truth. Because of this, Erika can use the red truth, even though she's neither a witch nor the game master. Beato, who's supposed to be the witch, possesses no truth, nor red that she can use. And yet the detective Erika can use the red truth. The advantage had completely flipped over to the other side. Perhaps you could say the current Beato is in a much worse position than I was when I fought with her. After I got used to the game, Beato stopped responding to my statements that she used the red. In the beginning, she responded to almost all of them, giving me quite a few hints. That's why we were able to fight on par. However, Byrne Castle is different. She fully understands the rules of this game, and is prepared to corner Beato without even a hint of restraint. And because of this, I knew. In the past, Beato went easy on me, so we could fight on par with each other.
This has become quite an amusing fight. I see. So I must fight from the position Balin once stood in.
Beato.
In the past I insulted you and called you incompetent. I can handle much, much worse than this. It's now possible to suspect Goda and Kumasawa. You can't win by arguing that point any longer. Yes. Let's switch to a different approach. The next in line would probably be Nanjo. He was also in the guest house. Nanjo was in the lounge with Erika. However, I believe the time periods before and after that have been left open. That's right. I'll strike there. Nanjo, you were relaxing in the first floor lounge of the guest house with Erika and Goda, correct?
Was the crime also possible for Nanjo, who was in the guest house?
Yes, I was with Erika the whole time. And during that time was this. From 1 a.m. to 3 a.m.
Yes, that's right. It was the period between 1 and 3. Dr. Nanjo and Koro and I were relaxing in the lounge. Repeat it, my master!
I'll respond. From 1 a.m. to 3 a.m., Erika, Nanjo, and Goda spent their time in the lounge on the first floor of the guest house.
Though she flat out refused to repeat what Beato told her to, she responded to Erika's demand immediately. The red truth was starting to corner Beato. She grimaced as though in pain, but she still stuck her back with the blue truth. She grimaced as though in pain, but she still struck back with the blue truth. No, perhaps she really was in pain. Now that the characters, apart from Natsu, had their alibis established, the illusion of the witch is also being denied. Beato perceived the denial of her existence as pain.
Even so, he shouldn't have an alibi for the time period before and after you were in the lounge. It was possible for Nanjo to commit the crime too.
That's right! I get that Nanjo was in the lounge with Erika from 1 to 3, but what about before and after that? What about that, Erika? Yes. First the alibi for before 1 a.m.
Oops, my bad.
Yes, first the alibi for before 1 a.m. This is no problem at all. I played cards with the cousins in their room until 24:00 and then went downstairs to the lounge where I met Dr. Nanjo.
That's right. At 24:00, I met Erika after she came down from the stairs and spoke with her, learning that she was quite the connoisseur of the mystery genre. I realized I found a kindred spirit.
When I went to the library to solve the F-Task riddle, I noticed that there were several original copies of the famous foreign mystery novel stored there, so I wanted to discuss some of the actual books in hand. We moved to the library and were talking the whole time, constantly until we moved to the lounge. Crap though it was, the book storage in the guest house was stocked well enough, so it was fair to call it a small library. In it were several famous mystery novels that Kinzo had once taken a liking to. Of course, they were all originals and in English, but English was no problem for Erika or Nanjo. For this occasion, they borrowed the keys to the library one more time from Goda in the servant room. At that point, Erika checked the seal again and of course reset it. Damn her. Even though she keeps it sealed for anyone else to enter or leave, she alone enters and leaves whenever she wants. I see! So from 24:00 until 3 a.m., when you went to sleep, you were with Nanjo the whole time? That means Nanjo's alibi is the most rock solid of them all. Yes, that's it exactly! My master, repeat it!
I'll respond. After 24:00, Erika was with Nanjo the whole time until 3 a.m.
At 24:00, the crime in the cousin's room still hadn't occurred. So this way, an alibi has been established for a period before the time they were in the lounge. After that, we walked out of the library and into the hallway at 1 a.m. When we did, we just happened to bump into Rosa as she returned. Then I told Genji about that. Then I told Goda about that. I figured it was probably a servant's responsibility to welcome in a guest. Goda asked if he should bring a towel, but Rosa refused. She quickly headed up to the second floor. At this point, Erika, Goda, and Nanjo gathered together and decided to have a drink. The alibis in the lounge up until 3 a.m. have already been proclaimed in red, so there are no problems here. Let's continue on after 3 a.m. This is Dr. Nanjo's alibi after we split up. At 3 a.m., Ballard returned and the people in the lounge went their separate ways. Dr. Nanjo, Ballard, and I went up to the second floor. Then I said goodnight to Dr. Nanjo. At this time, of course, I put a seal on the door to the doctor's room as well. and it went unchanged until the crime was discovered. I flew out of my room at the same time that Battler screamed and checked out to see the door to Dr. Najo's room was still sealed. Therefore, Dr. Najo's alibi is perfect before 1 and after 3. Najo has an alibi. I don't think I'll do any editing at this part because this part is really boring. For me.
Splendid, Erica. Both you and your seal, the red truth, are perfect. Najo had the alibi of being with Erica until 3 a.m., and he didn't leave his room until after 3 a.m. this morning.
Erica made use of the seals on the doors, and was granted red truths from Berncastle one after another. For me, demanding that Beta repeat something had been about maneuvering and tactics. But it's totally different for Erica. For her, it's like having a trump card that can be made red whenever she wants. This concludes the proof of the alibis for all the suspects in the guest house. Any problems?
I do have a problem. And that problem is,
Beta racked her brains to find some sort of point to latch onto. Erica's red had already been ruthlessly perfect. There was no point she could take issue with. Beta kept thinking hard, trying to find fault on Erica on something. But her expression was so wrought with desperation that anyone could tell by looking. Beta's complaint is rejected. I can't sense any problems at all. It's totally pop, cute, and perfect. Alibis for all humans in the guest house have now been proven.
Wait a sec, Erica. Are you trying to leave me out of this? Shooting me a Battler should have also had a chance to commit the crime. After all, I was in the same room with the victims all night. I'm not gonna let you skip past this part while ignoring me.
At the same time, an arrow twisted like a golden snake and hit me. It didn't pierce right through me, but it slapped me hard on the cheek like a whip.
Battler, your right to speak has not yet been recognized. Be warned.
Ow, damn it!
Yeah, I understand, Battler. And my apologies, forgive me. Erica! You still haven't shown an alibi for Battler. Battler's the man who's sleeping alongside the victims. Shouldn't he be placed under more suspicion than anyone else?
Was the crime also possible for Battler, who was in the guest house? Beta's right. You can't go skipping Battler like that. My apologies. I had completely forgotten.
After Battler returned at 3 a.m., you went to the second floor with him. And I believe you also went to your own room and slept. You may have gone to the cousin's room at 2400, but I don't think you went there after 3 a.m. Will you now claim that you went to crawl into Battler's bed later on? Well, if you say you were looking at Battler's sleeping face all night long to confirm his alibi in the cousin's room, then I accept it, right?
Yes, I listened to him breathing in his sleep all night long. Got a problem with that?
What?
I, Furuto Erica, can prove that Battler returned to the cousin room at 3 a.m., that he went straight to bed afterwards, and that he went straight to sleep. And I can prove that until he woke up and noticed the guest room gruesome situation he was in and let out a scream, nothing happened in that room. Let's try that again. And I can prove that until he woke up and noticed the gruesome situation in the room he was in, and he let out a scream, nothing happened in that room. So you have no need to worry. Battler isn't the culprit. He's just the charming first discoverer who entered the murder scene without realizing it was one and slept until morning.
That's insane. It shouldn't be possible for you to prove that with those seals you love so much. How can you prove this?
That's ridiculous! At that time I entered the room alone. Erica probably went to her room too. How could she say something like that? As though she saw the whole thing!
She never said she saw it. The room Erica was assigned to, where was it located?
Erica, please tell me. How can you prove so much about Battler?
I'd expect no less from a true detective.
My room was right next to the cousin's room. There was only a single thin wall between them.
You don't mean you put your ear against the wall to check what was happening in the cousin room?
Yes. My ears are perfect. Right after Balor entered the room, I put my ear against the wall and checked to make sure nothing strange happened. You said you could prove that nothing happened until Balor let out a scream the next morning? You don't mean... Yes. I put my ear against the wall and listened in on that room until morning without sleeping a wink.
Everyone was stunned into silence. She put her ear against the wall, and for the entire time until morning, she listened to what was going on in Balor's room. This is fucking crazy. Just what would it look like? Until dawn, she killed her breathing in a pitch-black room, clinging to the wall shared with the cousin room, like some kind of creepy, venomous spider clinging to the wall of a darkened room. Berncastle alone was grinning in triumph. Due to the progression of the game, I realized that Balor, the one who perceived the head's ring, would be a key player. I was sure that Balor would be the victim of the first twilight.
Yes! So just as my master told me to do, I put my ear against the wall until morning without a wink of sleep, checking to make sure nothing unusual happened.
Erica has a photographic memory, and her hearing ability is on par with a tape recorder. It had been impossible for him to deceive Erica's ears, either to kill George and the others or make wounds on their throats. It was impossible for Balor to commit the crime. Uh-oh. That's how many? That's like 6 questions. We're about halfway.
It's an accepted power of the detective's authority. I have no choice but to acknowledge it. I'll confirm it in red. Lushirmi and Balor returned to the cousin room at 3 a.m. and fell asleep. After that, until the discovery of the crime, absolutely nothing out of the ordinary happened in the room.
In other words, it was impossible for Balor to commit murder or damage the corpses. The red from the pair forced Beata to show an expression of considerable anguish. It was only natural. Those red truths not only guaranteed Balor's alibi, but a number of other things as well. First off, it meant the murder was impossible for anyone after 3:00 a.m. And since the cousins were confirmed to be alive as late as 24:00, the time period of the crime would automatically become between 24:00 and 3:00. That means the alibis for all the people who were in the guest house before 3 a.m. had also been guaranteed automatically. It is impossible for the crime to have occurred after 3. Oh no. So we have 6 questions left. That one hurts. A lot. After 24:00, Erica was in the guest house the whole time, so it should have been difficult for her to prove all the alibis for the people in the mansion. It should have been almost impossible to prove alibis for Ava and the others, but now all she has to do is prove they never visited the guest house between 24:00 and 3:00, and she can prove those alibis. Anyway, we'll have to construct it so the murders were possible before 3 a.m. And we have to prove that it was possible for the one of the people in the mansion to do it. The people who had been in the guest house all had alibis. The crime didn't occur before 24:00. The crime couldn't have occurred after 3:00. In other words, there was no way for the murders to happen unless someone from the mansion committed the crime between 24:00 and 3:00. Is it possible that someone in the mansion committed the crime between 24:00 and 3:00? In order to protect Natsu, she had to establish that it was possible for someone other than Natsu to commit the crime. Ironically, the witch had to prove that a human had committed the crime. Still, this is getting pretty difficult.
Until 300, Erica was in the lounge. You have to pass through the lounge. Wait, and you have to pass through here to reach the second floor. In other words, she's practically like a manager for the guest house second floor. This tactic may be a bit overused, but if it was possible for someone to go up in the second floor without Erica noticing, we should be able to prove that crime was possible for anyone. It's probably possible for a human to climb up to the second story if they really wanted to. Could there possibly be a way to reach the second floor without passing through the lounge Erica was in? Of course, Beto had also thought of striking back that way. Mercastle must have thought this as well.
Bowler, Nanjo, Goda, Kumasawa. We realized the crime was impossible for all these people in the guest house. However, what about the humans in the mansion?
As I have already said, and my master has even proclaimed with the red truth, I was in the lounge on the first floor of the guest house, and to reach the second floor one must pass through the lounge. In other words, it was impossible to reach the second floor without me seeing it.
And what if that wasn't impossible? For example, what if someone placed a ladder against the outer wall of the guest house and snuck it through the second floor window? There must be a way to reach the second floor without passing through the lounge. That way, it would be possible to reach the crime scene without you seeing it.
Beta finally struck back. Before now, she let Erica take total control and attack her with the red over and over. During that time, Beta's counterattacks with the blue truth had been few in number, including even this one. Of course I knew you tried saying that. I couldn't have my lookout in the lounge become meaningless, so first I must prove that my lookout was perfect. First though, because how the guest house is constructed, it's impossible to reach the second floor without me seeing it from the lounge. There are no places undercover, nor are there any physical or mental blind spots. My master, repeat it!
It is impossible for someone to reach the second floor of the guest house without anyone in the lounge noticing it. Though, of course, this only refers to reaching the second floor from inside the building.
Good! My master! So next is Lady Beatrice's theory that there might be a way to reach the second floor from the outside. This really is a problem. After all, there are trees that could probably be climbed on, and someone could have used a ladder. Even crawling out the rain gutter can't be ruled out as impossible. But I can't let you do that.
Huh. You won't let me. And how's that? Did you stay up all night circling the guest house? No, you couldn't do that. You were in the lounge. From the lounge, you can only see a small part of the outer perimeter through the window.
That's true. I couldn't prevent all the methods of climbing up to the second floor from the outside. However, I was able to prevent all entry to the second floor.
Prevent entry? I'd already foreseen this move. How terrifying that she would be so persistent.
Because of how the guest house is constructed, the windows are the only method of entry from outside to the second floor. The locks? Not important at all. I only had to prove that none of the windows or shutters were open even once. After I witnessed the location of the hidden gold, I returned to the guest house and immediately began severing all methods of entry to the second floor of the guest house that didn't pass through the lounge. Yes, it's exactly the same. No different from the rest. Don't tell me! You used that seal of yours on all the windows of the guest house? In that weather, dressed like that? Well, I did have my swimsuit from when I drifted there. You're insane. At a house where you're welcome as a guest, you did something like that in the middle of the rain, even though nothing had happened yet? For a normal human, it would have been an action so suspicious as to be completely impossible. However, she is the witch's piece. In the middle of all that rain, Erica sealed all the windows from the outside to create an alibi showing that no one could have snuck into the guest house from the outside. She climbed up the wall herself and did all that to the windows on the first and second floor. No, to all the things that could have permitted entry. Although, after hearing she listened to the cousin's room all night long without even sleeping a wink, this new bizarre action didn't quite seem so impossible. This probably had also looked like a venomous spider. A disgusting spider crawling over the second guest outside the guest house wall during a storm.
You! Just what do you think of this Ushinomiya family? Is this how you repay us for welcoming you as a guest?
To a detective, the Ushinomiya family is nothing more or less than the stage upon which the crime occurs. Before the outbreak of the crime, it was impossible for me to memorize the names of the characters, memorize the layout of the land, and prepare for the upcoming crime by devoting my time towards collecting and creating all possible alibis. From my perspective, detectives who don't prepare anything before the outbreak of the crime are pretty third-rate. After all, we all know that someone will die whenever we spend the night.
Furthermore, at the time the crime was discovered, Erica confirmed that none of those seals had been broken. That's why Erica wasn't the first one to reach the cousin's room when the cousins were found. Even without inspecting the corpses, she should be certain of several things thanks to the red truth. It was more important to check the seals and construct alibis.
My master is perfect! All I did was prove everything perfectly by following my master's orders.
Well done, Erica. My double. My piece. What do you think, Lambda? Doesn't this prove that Erica's lookout in the lounge contains absolute reliability as far as constructing alibis?
There is no way to reach the second floor without passing through the lounge. Okay, so we have 5 questions left. Let's take a short break. I need a stretch. Just give me a bit of a break. I'll be there soon. Or something. So I was a little worried. I'll talk about other stuff while we wait, I guess. I was a little worried that, like, the storm would ruin things, because I actually temporarily lost internet last night. Because of the storm. Like, there was a tropical storm. I feel so sleepy I could shut my eyes. The trial's really boring, but I'm trying not to read it as if I'm tired or exhausted. But you can tell I'm making mistakes. Okay. Alright. Break over. Yeah, I acknowledge it. Erica, your seal is perfect. I'll acknowledge it in red. It was impossible to reach the second floor of the guest house without passing through the lounge, and impossible to reach it at all without Erica, who was in the lounge, knowing about it. Thank you very much, Lady Lambda Delta. So you know what's coming next, great Lady Beatrice? Therefore, the time of the crime is limited to the single hour between 24:00, where they were confirmed to be alive, and 1 a.m., where our party in the lounge started. Said it, but at 24:00, I went down to the lounge, hit it off with Dr. Nanjo, and was grossed by a discussion of the mystery genre in the library until 1 a.m. It's a bit embarrassing, but I grew so wrapped up in that discussion that I wouldn't have noticed if anyone had passed through the corridor during that period. Quite a regretful mistake for a detective. After doing all that maneuvering and setting up seals to guarantee a perfect alibi, she became too engrossed in a mystery discussion and left an opening? Her relaxed smile was completely shameless, the total opposite of her words. It almost seems like the other way around. It's enough to make you think that this was an intentional trap, to make it clear that only Natsu didn't have an alibi between 24:00 and 1:00. In other words, it paradoxically means this. The only ones who could have reached the cousin's room and committed the crime are those characters who have no alibi between 24:00 and 1:00. Her eyes clearly hinted that Natsu was the only one who fits this description. It is only possible for the crime to have occurred between 24:00 and 1:00.
It should have been a crime whose time and locations were completely unknown during the long night, but because of the alibis Erica constructed, it had been limited to the time period between 2400 and 100. Erica left the cousin's room at 2400. That marks the last confirmation that George and the others were alive. After the party in the lounge started at 100, it was impossible to reach the cousin's room by any method. Damn her, and from a mere human. This is quite bad. The night has become sealed into an hour at this rate. There won't be many suspect pieces left. Damn. Lady Berncastle, nicely done. Unlike Battler, I'm not an idiot. After watching this game 5 times, I've got more than enough cards in my hand.
Then let us continue. Let's examine the alibis of the remaining suspects and the people in the mansion. After all, we only have to worry about the single hour between 2400 and 100. That shouldn't be difficult at all. Let's start with 2400. At this time, Natsui, Kraus, and Genji in the second floor corridor and all the others in the first floor dining hall. This has already been shown by my master's red.
Yeah, that's right. At 2400, Natsui, Kraus, and Genji were in the corridor on the second floor of the mansion. The rest of them were in the dining hall on the first floor. And as you know, there was this mysterious knock. A letter with a one-winged seal on it. As you know, there was a mysterious knock. And a letter with a one-winged seal on it appeared. The discussion surrounding that continued on until 1. I will say with the red truth. Of all the people in the dining hall, not one of them left the dining hall until 1 a.m. Excluding Natsui, Kraus, and Genji, none of the people in the mansion left the mansion before 1:00. Since the possible times for the crime had been limited to between 2400 and 100, the adults in the family conference who were confirmed not to have left the mansion between 2400 and 100 all had proven alibis. And how do you intend to prove that? Erica's in the guest house. Did someone prove it by using one of your favorite seals on the dining hall door? You have no convincing evidence or proof. The red truth is simply truth. There is no need to provide evidence, proof, or room for counter-argument. You made that rule. This overbearing red truth hadn't only been given alibis to the adults in the dining hall, it also gave alibis to Shannon and Canon, who had come to serve tea, and even guaranteed they never left the dining hall. In other words, the only ones who didn't have proven alibis were these 3, Natsui, Kraus, and Genji. No, there were only 2 left. If Kraus and Genji had their alibis proven, it proves that no one but Natsui could have been the culprit.
Let's do Genji next. He's a victim, but you can't deny the possibility that he committed the crime in the cousin room and was killed himself. And furthermore, though he was in the second floor corridor at 2400, he then returned to the servant room to transfer the phone call for Natsui and was completely isolated.
Was the crime also possible for Genji, who was in the mansion? Which means it was possible for Genji to commit the... I'll say it in red. When Genji finished transferring the call, he immediately returned to the waiting room. That's just a cold, hard truth. Without any evidence, proof, seals, or alibis. Got it?
Then at 1 a.m., there was another break in the family conference, and Rosa returned to the guest room. At that time, I'm truly thankful for your cooperation, Ushiromiya Eva. Please rise.
Erica wasn't the only one, okay? I was also certain that something would happen that night.
She's the person who taught me how to make those seals. And she helped me check the alibis of all those people under suspicion.
During the break at 1 a.m., I went to Genji's waiting room and used the same seal as Erika. In other words, if that wasn't broken, it would mean no one entered or left that room between 1 a.m. until the next morning.
The murder of Genji is also limited to the span between 2400 and 100. Now Kano and Kumasawa, please rise. Kano rose expressionlessly and Kumasawa got to her feet timidly. In the morning, you two went to wake Genji because he had slept in, right? And at that time you noticed that the door was sealed, broke the seal, and opened the door, correct?
Yes, I thought it was some kind of prank. I didn't think deeply about it at the time.
I'm not asking for your opinions. Just give us the facts. Did you break the seal and enter the room?
Yes. I finally realized what happened. I think I solved it. The part where Genji. I can't tell you the answer though, because that would be spoilers. I'm sorry. With the red truth, I guarantee that Ava, Kana, and Kumasawa's statement just now are the truth. At 1:00 a.m., at 1:00 a.m., Ava sealed Genji's waiting room, and that seal was broken by Kano and Kumasawa in the morning when the crime was discovered. This'll be a pain, so I'll add on some more. During the short break at 1 a.m., the first two to leave the dining hall were Rosa and Ava. Until Ava returned everyone, the dining hall remained there. After seeing Rosa off, Ava went to the waiting room and sealed it. Of course, she did not enter the room at all at this time.
This is all information gathered from the people involved. It isn't a red truth without a basis. It's a truth due to a proper reasoning, constructed from testimony. Not only testimony, but the limits of scientific investigation such as collecting fingerprints were used here. After all, Kinzo's study is a treasure vault with all kinds of chemicals. I obtained all sorts of results to create an ultimate truth infinitely close to a red truth. This isn't a science mystery, so I'll spare you the details. As Erika swathered throughout the cathedral, she arrogantly touted her scientific knowledge. She had thorough knowledge of all the chemicals in Kinzo's study and had used them to conduct a scientific investigation, which had been acknowledged and made into the red truth by Bernkastel. She didn't explain the details, but she had obtained the truths that were convincing even without the red truth. Collecting fingerprints with aluminum powder, component analysis of the mud under someone's shoe, various chemical reactions from the clinging rainwater. Erika just walked into someone else's study several times and used several chemicals, however she pleased, all without asking the family's permission. However, no one could find fault with her for this. The pieces couldn't hinder any action the detective might take for the investigation. That's the power of the detective's authority.
You act like you own the place. From now on, I'll tell everyone I meet, if someone claims to be a detective, never welcome them into your home as a guest.
That's probably a good idea. Giving shelter to a detective is just about the worst omen of misfortune out there.
Because of this, it has been proven that it was only possible to reach Genji's waiting room and commit the crime between 2400 and 1 a.m. And furthermore, by Erika's investigation, it has been proven that it's impossible for Genji to reach the cousin's room. It had already been made clear in red that after transferring the phone call to Natsuhi, Genji had gone straight back to the waiting room. And because of Erika's scientific investigation, further red had been added, saying Genji never left the mansion after 2400. Because of this, it's been made clear that Genji couldn't have reached the guest house. Sorry, Genji, much less the cousin's room. Genji has an alibi. Now only Kraus and Natsuhi remain. Everyone else has their alibis proven, haven't they? Impossible! Wait, no. Impossible!
Natsuhi's mouth flapped open and shut like a suffocating goldfish. That is an accurate analogy. Natsui's mind was blank and spinning out of control. She felt as though she really would suffocate.
Ushirumi and Natsui, I'll give you one last chance. Confess that all the crimes were the work of your husband.
Fool! Do I look like the kind of woman who would falsely accuse her husband?
Beto, Natsui's denied it. I'll give you the same chance. You understand, right? Or wait, don't tell me. You aren't going to take advantage of the fact that Kraus is missing, or try and pull a devil's proof on me, are you?
Was the crime also possible for Kraus, who was in the mansion? No, what for Castle means is, are you gonna say that you're gay, Natsuhi? Are you finally going to dump Kraus's ass? Divorce him, and I will make sure he's the... This is like, no! Okay, well, that's it. How dare you not admit it? That's why she's punishing her. I'm just kidding. Beto realized they were rapidly approaching the end of this battle. Normally, Beto should have been able to argue against these alibis of Erika's in several ways using the blue truth. However, all those alibis have been accepted by Burnt Castle and Lambda Delta as the red truth. Beto no longer had any room to argue. It's like those witches are distorting things so they match a plot line Erika's drawn up. It's the Kangaroo Court!
That's right. If the Game Master, Lady Lambda Delta, accepts the truth, its authenticity will not be questioned. The world that becomes after will be formed based on the final remaining truth. This happens no matter how far the final truth is from the real truth.
There's no way Uncle Kraus is the culprit! He's been held prisoner somewhere! Wait! We can't deny the possibility that Aunt Natsui was skillfully tricked into believing that during the phone call!
Do you suspect that Natsui and Kraus battling?
Well,
Erika's truth has been constructed in a cowardly fashion, but it is a proper truth. Though the witches did conspire with her, it still has been acknowledged as a red truth. In other words, it cannot be a fake truth built solely on lies. This means that even Erika's truth is supported by logic. The truth about Natsui and Kraus being culprits is also very possible. Even if it's a mixture of truth and lies, it makes sense logically. It is a mixture of truth and lies. It is just as valuable as the truth is. Which one of these two truths will you believe? That is up to you to decide.
No! I'll trust Aunt Natsuhi and Uncle Kraus. I realize they're in some money trouble. But even so, I don't want to believe they're the culprits. No, I can't believe it!
On this game board, where the red is steadily courting Natsuhi, how do you intend to let her escape?
I don't know. However, I seriously don't want to give up. Aunt Natsuhi was just caught in a cowardly trap. Erika's reasoning has fallen for that trap completely. So whether it's intentional or she's being manipulated, Erika's ain't the true culprit. Erika's accused Aunt Natsuhi of being the culprit, but even if everyone here believes that, in fact, for that very reason, I want to be the one person who trusts Aunt Natsuhi. If everyone believes it's her, will that become the truth? If everyone accepts it's a lie, will that become the truth? Must an honest person be dragged up to the guillotine all alone and taunted by liars? I don't like it. If no one else will believe in Aunt Natsuhi, then I will! The real truth isn't something that's determined when everyone accepts it. It's something you find after thoroughly investigating both possibilities. So this trial is a downright lie. This trial exists for no other reason than to set Aunt Natsuhi up as the culprit. Beato's doing all she can to plead Natsuhi's case, right? Oh wait.
Beato is doing all she can to plead Natsuhi's case, right?
Wrong! Beato's trying to refute Erika's argument. She's just defending! You can't fight in this trial by simply resisting all of your opponent's claims. This is why Beato always courted me in the past. She isn't gonna beat Erika by finding flaws in her reasoning. She has to find a different truth and show Lambda Delta, the commander of this game. Her truth is more correct than Erika's!
Can anyone create a truth where Natsui isn't the culprit, without violating the red truth that Lady Burnt Castle has shown?
I don't know! But as long as I don't believe that Aunt Natsui is the culprit, there's gotta be a different truth!
It's even okay if the culprit crime. Wait. Oops. It's even okay if the culprit for the crime was a witch. That's better than having Natsuki be framed by an incorrect truth. So no matter how much red truth you are shown, you won't believe that Natsuki is the culprit, correct?
Yeah! For all things, there should always be some people who believe and some who don't. No matter how much evidence is stacked up against her, someone has to believe that she's innocent. There must be several truths in the world that cannot be proven with evidence. I don't ever want to accept that something's true just because everyone says it is. How can you be sure there's nothing on the backside of the moon if you've never seen it? Is there some reason you have to believe it? Until you see the backside of the moon with your own eyes, you can deny neither the possibility that nothing's there at all, nor the possibility that there's a thriving culture of space bunnies. You should never assume that something is a truth until you actually check it. This court is a malicious thing trying to force a single interpretation on a truth that cannot be checked. I believe there was a civilization on the backside of the moon, but that was in elementary school and I was being made fun of and laughed at. So I thought it was embarrassing to think that a civilization lived on the moon, and I threw away that belief. I've been told by a book that my mom read me that rabbits lived on the backside of the moon, so I believed that for a long, long time. When everyone said it was wrong, I abandoned that truth without even trying to check it. Even without evidence, I abandoned the truth I believed in. And now everyone is starting to believe that Aunt Natsuki is the culprit, even though no decisive evidence has been shown. Even without evidence, Erika's words sound reasonable, so they're probably the truth? Is that why you're throwing away your belief that Aunt Natsuki is innocent, despite a lack of proof? If no one else will believe, then I will! I believe the real truth only appears if you look with both eyes, one denying and one affirming. No matter how much she tries to make us believe that Aunt Natsuki is the culprit, I believe she isn't. I won't abandon that belief.
Understood. And I will give you just a single red truth. I will give this single bit of power to you, now that you possess the will to fight in the truest sense.
Power?
By the name of the finite witch Virgilia. No, as the former witch Beatrice, I will grant you this red truth. Ushiromiya Natsuki is not the culprit. A plea bargain. If you acknowledge that Kraus is the culprit, Erika will suspend her pursuit of Natsuki. From then on, the investigation will proceed, assuming that Kraus's location is unknown as the culprit.
What will you do, Beto? At this rate, Natsuki's in serious trouble, right? Will you accept the plea bargain? If you're willing to abandon this Ushiromiya family honor thing, Bert will be kind enough to let you get off with a draw, okay? Kraus is currently missing. It is unknown whether he is alive or dead. Unlike Kinzo, he's no different than a cat in a box that has disappeared into the mists of the island. A cat inside a box is unfixed, and no interpretation of it can be denied. It is the root of endless interpretations, the true source of the endless witch's power. In other words, no matter how much Burncastle claims that Kraus is the culprit, she can't make that the sole truth. In other words, the Kraus culprit theory and the witch theory can be in almost perfect balance. It would mean making the game a draw. That was the Kojori, offering her a second chance if she abandons the honor of the family she swore to protect, and consents to a fragment and stomps all over that honor. There's no room for false confidence. For Beato to lose is to die. In this game, she should always choose a draw, unless she has an overwhelming advantage.
I won't allow you to treat my husband like the culprit! My husband is the successor to the Ushiromiya family headship! The only person who will inherit the glory of the Ushiromiya family! I'll never let you treat him like a criminal! Are you sure, Natsuki? If you refuse to suspect Kraus, then you'll be the only one left. Alibis have been proven for everyone else. In other words, Hempel's Raven. Even without any evidence, it'll be determined that you are the culprit. And if I'm the only one left, what then? I am Ushiromiya Natsuki. I will not run or hide. I am innocent! And I am the representative of the noble head, with the one-winged eagle engraved into my heart. If you wish to insult me, go ahead. If you wish to ridicule me, do as you please. No one can damage my honor with a mixture of truth and lies. With a dignified voice,
Natsuhi stated her case openly before the witches above her. However, this response of hers might have been exactly what Burn Castle had intended.
Natsuhi refuses the deal. And you, Beato? You understand, right? The instant Natsuhi is specified as the culprit, Lambda will make her verdict. As soon as that happens, the illusion of the witch will be denied, and you'll disappear into the mist. Do you plan to let Natsuhi's foolish bragging drag you down to the depths of hell?
Uh-oh.
Riche, you fought well. This is our chance. Convince Natsuhi and try to work out a compromise. Both Lady Lambda Delta and Lady Burn Castle have boredom, not you, as their true enemy. They probably want to have this game repeat and play some more. If they see that you're willing to make a concession, most likely accept it gladly and move on to the next game. If we move on to the next game, then what will happen to the Natsuhi of this game? The Natsuhi of this fragment? Now isn't the time to be worrying about that, right? Natsuhi is just a piece. Even if she gets removed from this game, she'll show up in the next one. But that doesn't apply to you, milady. I believe you know what Lady Burn Castle plans for this game. It's more of a realistic goal to make use of that. Aim for victory in the next game instead. Accepting Lady Burn Castle's deal might be our one and only good option right now. Throw away that useless pride of yours. Neither Kasparov nor Deep Blue won every game. The person that wins more games wins in the end, right? If a witch gets too attached to a single match, a single life. If a witch gets too attached to a single match, a single life, a single piece, that witch dies! My apologies, but I cannot do that. I know the strength of the man who believed, even though everyone said he was wrong. I know the suffering he went through when he was forced to abandon that belief. I will not abandon Natsuhi. Why? Because if everyone else suspects Natsuhi, then someone has to believe in her. Because truth can only be found in the gap between those who doubt and those who believe. I won't abandon her. Even if everyone believes that Natsuhi is the culprit, I will still claim that I, the witch, am the culprit. If I can't even make that claim, my existence isn't worth anything. I cannot lose. The truth isn't something anyone gets to deny. Only when you doubt and abandon yourself does it disappear!
Is that your answer, Beato?
Yeah, of course I refuse! Ushirimiya Cross is not the culprit!
Ushirimiya Kraus is not the culprit. Oh no.
Fool. I won't let you take that back, okay? Here's what you get for being a quick-tempered moron. By the name of Burn Castle, Witch of Miracles, I will speak the red truth. Ushirimiya Cross is not the culprit, and he was killed long ago. Shortly after you heard his voice over the phone, get it? No! Dear!
Burn Castle's cruel and ruthless red blade gouged Natsuhi. It was totally merciless. Natsuhi had been crushed with uncertainty, not knowing whether Kraus was alive or dead. She had still been capable of believing that he was alive. And now, that hope, that expectation had been crushed, without any chance for a miracle. She had thrown herself into this trap out of concern for her husband's safety. She had now lost her daughter and her husband, and everything else she had gained since marrying into the Ushirimiya family. No, even after all this, one thing still remains. If her husband has been lost, then right now, she is the last person who can protect the honor of the Ushirimiya family. She still couldn't let it end there. Even wrapped up in so much sadness, Natsuhi would do all she could to protect that honor, with this final bit of strength. Natsuhi, no! Nope, it's all over! It's been determined with the red truth that none of the remaining people in the dining hall left that room until 1. In other words, all alibis have already been proved for everyone except Natsuhi. Everyone in the mansion besides Natsuhi has an alibi.
Oh no.
Oh god. Well done, Erika and Burncastle! You've fully proven the crime was impossible for everyone except Ushiromi and Natsuhi. Why don't I start reading aloud for the verdict? At 24:00 on October 4th, 1986, the defendant Ushiromi and Natsuhi left before the others while pretending to return to her room to sleep and murdered George, Jessica, Maria, Rosa, and Genji one after another during the 1 hour period before 1 a.m.
Let me tack something on. Due to circumstantial evidence, including the murder of Krauss.
Yeah, that's right. In this situation, it's unthinkable that anyone except Natsuhi could kill Krauss. A revision to the verdict. During the hour before 1 a.m., Krauss, George, Jessica, Maria, Rosa, and Genji were killed one after another. It's only possible for any of these murders to have taken place between 24:00 and 1:00. The only person without an alibi during this time was Ushiromi and Natsuhi. From this point forward, the defendant will be treated as the true culprit. Furthermore, because it's been fully proven that the crime was possible for humans, Beatrice, the Endless Witch, this Court of Illusions hereby denies your existence. You'll be given a chance to plead your case, but can you prove an alibi for Natsuhi? Or can you prove it was possible for someone other than Natsuhi? If you can do that, Natsuhi will stop at being one shade short of being absolutely guilty, and the denial of your existence will be put on hold for this game. If Natsuhi had an alibi, Beato would have shown it long ago. In fact, it wasn't the whole point of the trap was to make her lose in her alibi.
Even if her alibi is not proven, I will believe in Natsuhi's innocence, no matter how much you try to pin your fake truth on her. I am the true culprit. Natsuhi is innocent, even without any proof. The truth is known only by the master of the night on this island, Beatrice the Golden. I am Ushiromiya Natsuhi. Now that my husband has passed away, I am the head of the Ushiromiya family. My determination will not bend no matter how much you try and humiliate me. Why, you ask? Is it because father gave me permission to engrave the family crest of the...
Fuck. Okay.
Why, you ask? It is because father gave me permission to engrave the family crest of the one-winged eagle into my heart. How do you intend to disprove the existence of this honor with your evidence and your alibis? You cannot! The Ushiromiya family crest...
Damn it. I have to try again.
Why, you ask? It is because father gave me permission to engrave the family crest of the one-winged eagle into my heart. How do you intend to disprove the existence of...
Ah! Frick. Try again.
Why, you ask? It is because father gave me permission to engrave the family crest of the one-winged eagle into my heart. How do you intend to disprove the existence of this honor with your evidence and your alibis? You cannot! The Ushiromiya family crest is engraved in my heart, is immortal!
Now that Natsuhi and Beatrice had been practically placed on the guillotine, they cried out with all the strength of their determination. However, that did nothing but bring a cold smile to Lambda Delta's face. Oh no. Erika had constructed a truth that Lambda Delta could accept, and no one could construct a more convincing truth to deny Erika's. In that case, the most convincing truth would swallow up everything else and become the one and only truth. Even if it happened to be different from the real truth. The truth of those in the past is swallowed up by the truth of those in the future. This can happen even for the mixture of truth and lies, as long as everyone acknowledges it as true.
Stop howling already. I like it best when witches sob and beg for their lives when they're about to be burned at the stake. When they try and bluff like you do, it is such a killjoy. In that case, I guess I'll send you off with one final gift. A red truth to smash that bluff wide open. What do you mean? Stop it, Lady Burncastle! Hasn't it already been overridden with the truth you wish for? That truth and Natsuhi should be able to coexist. Please don't defile it. Please. Natsuhi, when did Kinzo ever say it was okay for you to engrave the one-winged eagle into your heart? Those were just the words of the Kinzo from your delusions, weren't they? You know the real Kinzo. Not once in his entire life did he ever trust you from the bottom of his heart. And not once did he ever consider letting you bear the family crest.
When the heartless announcement was made, Kinzo stood up. Natsuhi! You need not listen to this! No one can defile the crest engraved in your heart! That is yours alone! Don't let your pride as the final family head be forgotten forever! Natsuhi!
Just shut up and disappear, you miserable delusion of Natsuhi's.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. You cannot erase me! You cannot erase my soul! Not as long as the crest is engraved into Natsuhi's heart!
That's enough, you lying illusion. The real Kinzo wouldn't say that. Disappear. You, the illusion of Kinzo inside Natsuhi's mind, beautified by Natsuhi to suit her own purposes.
Natsuhi! A bright red flash of lightning smashed Kinzo over and over as he screamed. Then he crumpled like a doll and sat back into his chair as though nothing had happened. The fierce emotion had left Kinzo's face. He had truly become like a wax model, and so he would never again share kind words with Natsuhi. That's right, the true Kinzo never once trusted Natsuhi during his entire life. The true Kinzo never once considered allowing Natsuhi to bear the one-winged eagle. Because of course, Kinzo had already vanished before the start of the game. That Kinzo that appears in this game is nothing more than Natsuhi's delusion. Every part of this Kinzo who believed in Natsuhi and entrusted her with protecting the family honor was a phantom created by Natsuhi.
Pitiful woman, you will now face the truth that you never gained Ushinomiya Kinzo's trust as long as he lived. Natsuhi, don't cry. Kinzo entrusted the Ushinomiya family to you, right?
No, he didn't. Not only did he not entrust her with that, he never even said hello, or met her gaze even once. Natsuhi's cry was a mixture of sadness and many other emotions. It echoed throughout the cathedral. Natsuhi could no longer stop her tears. Some faint last element that had cheered her up until today, that had allowed her to endure as an Ushinomiya, as the wife to the head's representative, and as the final family head, had been torn to bits. Natsuhi no longer had anything left. Natsuhi could no longer allow herself to even call herself an Ushinomiya. Those difficult days, those painful days, those days where she still gave everything she could for the family she married into despite it all. The very few happy days among these. All these flitted through her mind one after another and disappeared. All these once beautiful memories were then crushed by Berncastle's red truth, smashed to bits and scattered, plunged deep into her hands, and smeared red with mournful blood. It was the red of sadness and truth. That is all. Just because the crime exists as it does, this level of reasoning is possible for Furuto Erica. What do you think, everyone? Lambda Delta clapped, and a bit later Berncastle also clapped, looking pleased. The expressionless wax figure-like audience followed suit. The unshakable verdict was welcomed with a great applause. And so, the truth of this tale was decided. Fuck you, Kinzo! Also, yeah. Right now, no humans exist on this island except for those in the parlor. And with one exception, it's been shown that none of them have committed murder. And the culprit is among these people.
Whoa, whoa. In that case, it's conclusive, isn't it?
Unless the culprit is a witch who committed the murder with magic, that is.
It was you! You killed George! Killed my husband! Why? Why? I didn't kill anyone! I didn't!
In a panic and with a voice that was far from calm, in a manner that was, to put it coldly and slightly, Natsui denied the suspicion placed upon her. However, there was no longer any way around it. She stood up, brushed back her long hair, and pointed at Aunt Natsui and said it one more time. You are the culprit, Ushiramiya Natsuhi. Red face and tear streaked, Avon walked up to Natsuhi and grabbed her by the collar. And then wordlessly she slapped Natsuhi's cheek. Natsuhi, who had never been slapped in her life, was shocked by the taste of iron, which she was feeling for the first time. It turned to a scuffle between Ava and Natsuhi. Balor immediately tried to stop them, but Ava planted a sharp knee into Balor's gut and he doubled over.
Give them back! Give back George and my husband! Why did you kill them? You murderer! Murderer!
Sobbing, Ava kicked Natsuhi, who had fallen to the ground over and over. Balor tried once more to cut in and stop them, but he was brushed aside. And after that, no one tried to stop them. Repeating her son and husband's names over and over again, Ava kicked Natsuhi and kicked her. And she started grabbing whatever her eyes fell upon and throwing it. Natsuhi was hit with a steaming teacup, and a can of black tea whose tea leaves fell out all over her. She was kicked, her hair pulled and dragged up, her cheek slapped so many times it started to swell. No one tried to stop it. It wasn't because they were worried about Ava kicking them too. It was because they thought it an appropriate act of retribution for a person who had lost both her beloved son and husband. A proper retribution. A proper truth. Everyone in the parlor accepted that Natsuhi was the culprit. They accepted the truth Erika claimed. So it became a proper truth. Natsuhi was designated as the proper culprit. She'd already lost the husband and daughter who might have protected her. And even Kinzo, who should have given her a final bit of strength, had already vanished like a bubble in the ocean of illusions. No longer would anyone protect her. No longer would anyone believe her. So she was now the true culprit. Ava's shoulders heaved with her heavy breathing. Apparently her anger still hadn't abated. Erika patted her shoulder and made Ava take a step back. Of course, this wasn't to protect Natsuhi from violence. It was further to humiliate Natsuhi, now that she had been branded as the culprit. Natsuhi, I solved 2 of the 3 riddles. The who done it, and the how done it. The final riddle, the why done it, must always be confessed by the culprit herself. Please follow the rules of the mystery genre and confess. The why done it refers to the motive. If this was a third-rate mystery, you would be let out a high-pitched laugh and about now and confess to the crime and start telling the story of her sad past. Don't tell me you intend to make me explain that part as well.
I'm not the culprit! Someone believe me! I just had my husband taken hostage and was threatened and fell into a trap!
Natsuhi, with her hair in a mess, her face red and tear-streaked, protested to everyone, but no one met her gaze, because It had already been resolved that Natsuhi was the culprit. Because Lambda Delta had acknowledged that the culprit of the tale was Natsuhi, and woven it that way, none of the pieces would pay any heed to Natsuhi, for the culprit's words.
Natsuhi isn't the culprit. I'm the Golden Witch Beatrice. I'm the one who commands Rokanjima's night, and who's reigned since long before the time you were all still scared of the dark. Why can't you just call it my sin? Why must you suspect Natsuhi? Acknowledge me! I committed all the crimes! There's no way a human is the culprit!
The illusion of the witch had already been crushed, and Beato's voice didn't reach anyone. The verdict had already been made. Everything had been decided. No one can hear you. You're a phantom, a mere illusion. Go back to being a simple portrait. You're a faint phantom of a witch, born when Kinzo shared his illusion to his relatives. That's the truth chosen by this world. So great, Lady Lambda Delta, now's the time for you to bury this ridiculous and foolish illusion that this witch claims is the truth. Goodbye, Beatrice. I made you a witch expecting that you'd either become my friend or help distract me from my boredom. And you answered to my expectations. The second one, that is.
I am a witch. Even if Lady Lambda Delta doesn't acknowledge it. I am a witch.
Oh, sure. But you wouldn't even be capable of believing that if I hadn't become your guardian in the first place. Yep, this is game over for you. You'll be buried in accordance with the rules of your game board. What happens to losers to your game again?
Beato has already shown that clearly in a previous game. You get made into a mound of living flesh before being tossed into the goat's dinner party and getting chewed to bits. Now there's a fitting end for you, Beatrice. And I did come all the way here just to hear the death cries of one as haughty as you.
One by one, a massive number of goat attendants slipped out of the shadows of the pillars and began to fill the cathedral. The goats paid no attention to Natsuhi, who was seated in the center, but the crowd completely enveloped her. From Beatrice's point of view, from the view of the balcony, it probably looked like a huge boiling pot of goats.
That's right. The contract has been like this since the beginning.
Yep. Our contract said that whenever you stopped entertaining me, you would relieve me of my boredom with your life. Come, strip the title of the witch from this woman and throw her into the pot of goats. Suddenly there were goats standing right behind Beato. They lifted her up roughly.
Let me hear some nice screams. You're the wine I've been fermenting all this time. Then perhaps refusing your request will be my follow straight back at you. Yeah, I made her say it. The best screams always come from a girl who just said some tired line like that. Fall! Beatrice!
The goats carrying Beato no longer viewed her as their master, after holding her above the pot of clamoring goats, which were snoring heavily in anticipation. They threw Beato's slender body into the air. All at once, the squirming goats faced the heavens and raised their arms. It was almost as though they were able to forget their pain for just a short while by devouring her flesh. As she flew through the air, Beato tried to smile boldly, but it was so stiff it seemed even more pathetic, much to Bruncassle's amusement. When Beato fell into the pot, the goats caught her. Of course, they didn't do it gently. The arms of countless goats pulled at her flesh to keep it to themselves. They tried to tear her to bits. It didn't have to be flesh, hair, fingernails, shoes. Even bits of her dress worked just fine. The mouths of those goats were the gateway into hell. However, Beato was too big to enter into that gateway, so they had to tear and chew her into small bits to fit into it. Beato let out a bold laugh. She laughed from the inside of the pot of goats. However, her expression was very different from the one she had wanted. It was an expression not of a witch, but of a single human yelling her death throes. Then the sea of goats parted. Dalnor leapt forward, slicing all the goats in her path with a single slash of her longsword. It was a clean slice, like cutting through butter. The goats were surprised by Dalnor's sudden appearance and stepped back. In the center, Beatrice cowered in tatters, sobbing. What's this supposed to be, Dalnor, Inquisitor of Heresy? My apologies, but I have something to say. There is someone who has an objection to this ruling. His name is Ushiramiya Battler. All the goats stared at Battler. What is unsatisfactory about this court's ruling? Do you possess any new evidence or truth sufficient to request a retrial? I get it. Dalnor is offering me a helping hand. If she hadn't jumped in there, it'd all be over. But now I fully understand how I'm supposed to fight. Because I understand how, I am unable to fight right now. After all, I can't win by simply countering Erika's truth. If I want to deny her truth, I'll need to present a different one. I still don't have a clue what that truth is. There is nothing that cannot be healed with time. And there is no truth that cannot be reached if you spend enough time searching. However, all trials have a limited time in which the truth must be decided. Therefore, truth cannot be reached within that time limit, cannot become truth. Yeah, I know that! By now everyone is certain that Aunt Natsu is the culprit. It might be too late now, even for the real truth. Aunt Ava's violence will probably go unstopped, and no one is even thinking about protecting Aunt Natsuhi. It's no longer a situation where we can say, oh, the truth will eventually be found. And in this world, the time remaining to expose the truth is very short. It's already 24:00 at the game's end. The police won't come. The truth won't be revealed. Only the truth decided upon here will now remain. I slowly stood up, walked in front of Beato, and faced Dalnor. I have no plan. I don't know the truth. However, if I don't jump in now, I won't get another chance to fight. The red used by Erika's group is mercilessly strict. I seriously doubt I can put together a truth where Aunt Natsu isn't the culprit without violating that red. Why the uncertain face? How pathetic. Damn it! Battler. I'll be the one to kill you. I want to keep that promise. And yet, right now, I don't have any plan at all. That's okay. In this world, there is no truth. The truth is made later on and overwrites what becomes before it. The real truth doesn't exist anywhere.
Now this is a splendid scenario, Dalnor. It just wouldn't be interesting unless a knight appears before the princess's execution. And there's nothing better than watching heads roll before your very eyes. Erase the old piece and the unneeded player all in one go.
As you wish. Glory to be the late Fern. As you wish. Glory be to the late Frick. As you wish. Glory be to the great Lady Berncastle. I am the head Inquisitor of Heresy, Dalnor A. Knox. Step forward, Ushiramiya Battler.
Damn it, I've got nothing more to lose. If you want to see me struggle, I'll show you!
The only reason Erika's theory is so strong is because of those seals. She was given red so quickly just because Lambda Delta easily bought the alibi sealed by those seals. But those seals aren't the red truth. Just sticking paper in a door crack is far from perfect. There's no way something that I can prove anything with certainty. Begin, Battler! Ready to let those goats turn into a pile of meat along with your beloved Beatrice?
Oh, and I'll mix the leftovers from your precious sister into that pile. Wouldn't that make for a wonderful stack of meat? Then we can wrap it up in a dumpling, steam it, and maybe add some soy sauce.
No, the best way to be fried in the pan with some eggs and ketchup! Damn it! Can't we doubt the reliability of the seal of Erica's? Something like wedging some paper on a door can't create a perfect alibi. It might be that someone noticed by chance and happened to put it back in the same place. The blade of my blue truth should have slashed diagonally through Dalnor's chest. However, Dalnor's expression didn't budge in the slightest. There wasn't a single wound in her chest.
I was wondering what you throw out there, but this is ridiculous.
Allow me to explain. This is what I sealed the doors with. Did you think this was with paper, Battler? Erica once again held up the thing that looked like brown paper. This is packing tape, and its adhesive power is extremely strong. I used scissors to make it easier to tear. Furthermore, I wrote my signature, which cannot be reproduced in 3 places. Across the tear point, across the edge between the door and the tape, and across the edge between the tape and the door frame. Therefore, it's impossible to tear off without leaving a mark, and impossible to reattach too. Permission to unsheath the red key. Granted!
Or, I think she said granted. I forgot. I'm sorry.
Due to the above, the seals are guaranteed to be perfect. Miss Erica's seals were not broken by anyone, and deception is impossible. I'll acknowledge Erica's seals. However, Aunt Ava's seal on Genji's room should be different. Erica's seal was of the same type as Miss Erica's. That is because his method of sealing is the one that Miss Erica and Ava conceived together after dinner. Erica said something about a scientific investigation and fished for the chemicals in Grandfather's room, right? There might be some solvent in there. If you use that, you might be able to tear off the packing tape without leaving fingernail marks.
Please allow me to speak. It is impossible to tear off any of the seals by any method without leaving marks.
Please allow me to speak. There were no suspicious marks on any of the seals. Therefore, it's been proven that nothing has done to any of the seals. Repeat it!
Yes, gladly. All of Erica and Ava's seals were not tampered with in any way that hindered their abilities to act as seals, such as being scraped off.
Damn it! Damn you using packing tape that leaves marks all over the place! Dalnor isn't my only enemy. There's also her subordinates Gertrude and Cornelia, and also Erica and her master friend Castle, and even Lambda Delta, the one who hijacked Beatrice's game. Everyone in this cathedral is an enemy. That fierce rush of red immediately repelled my feeble truth. It's obvious why. I don't have any alternate truth. Even at this final stage, I have nothing. Were the seals all you had to discuss? You promised to give it everything you've got. If only I knew a truth that could prove Natsu's... Damn it! If only I knew a truth that could prove Aunt Natsu's innocence. If only I could make a theory that weaves its way through Erica's red. Damn it. I don't know anything!
Do you have any chance of winning?
I left it at home. Mind if I go back and get it?
I have already lost. I'm prepared for my fate.
I promised that I'd kill you, so I won't let anyone else do it. I'll definitely keep that promise!
Liar. I'll never trust your promises again.
Huh? When did I ever make a promise to you? And what was the lie?
After hearing you say that, hell might not be so bad. Kill us! Burn Castle! Lambda Delta!
They had to let out a shrill cry overcome with laughter. It was a broken laugh, and tears streamed down her cheeks. Fowler's words would no longer reach her ears. She kept on laughing insanely like a broken record. It isn't over. Pitiful. I am truly disappointed, Ushurami a battler.
Kill me, down there! Slice me in half with that red longsword of yours!
Let's assume that there exists a method X that can lead us somewhere to the second floor of the guest house without passing through the lounge. Erica claims that the windows and such were sealed, but she can't prove that she sealed all possible means of entry. There's a possibility that Erica was unable to seal entrance X because she couldn't find it. Noxus third, it is forbidden for hidden passages to exist. As a detective, Miss Erica sealed all entrances. Passages the detective cannot find are hidden passages. Therefore, there are no entrances that Miss Erica cannot find. I present the possibility that Erica's lookout in the lounge wasn't perfect. During the 2 hours Erica spent there, she really observed everything without looking away for a second. It might be possible for someone to have passed through the lounge during a small gap without at least Erica seeing them.
Please allow me to speak. Lady Erica's lookout in the lounge was perfect. There were no small gaps or carelessness or times when she looked away for even a second.
Please allow me to speak. Therefore, during the entire meeting in the lounge, only Rosa went up to the second floor. But was that really Aunt Rosa herself? There's a possibility that someone disguised themselves as Aunt Rosa. Or maybe she was actually holding a large suitcase with someone hiding inside it. Noxus 10, it is forbidden for a character to disguise themselves as another without any clues. There have been no hint suggestion that someone has disguised themselves as Rosa. Furthermore, Erica has confirmed that she wasn't carrying any luggage large enough to hide a human in. Aunt Nazi was being threatened by someone! The unidentified unknown guest X is the true culprit! How can you be sure that we're the only ones on this island? The true culprit is someone else! Noxus first, it is forbidden for the culprit to be anyone not mentioned in the early part of the story. Maybe they were killed with poison or remote murder! With a strange drug that can make a cut appear on someone's neck and they die! And that type of murder is a late effect, so even with an alibi... Noxus 4, it is forbidden for unknown drugs or hard to understand scientific devices to be used. There's a chance that there existed a murder device X in the cousin room, and Genji's waiting room had a murder possible. It had some secret mechanism that still has been discovered, and... Noxus 8, it is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented. Anyway, there exists a culprit other than Aunt Natsuki. If you want to deny that, try and repeat in red that none of the apparent characters were the culprits. Noxus 6, it is forbidden for an accident or intuition to be employed as a detective technique. You say that everyone except Aunt Natsuki has an alibi! You're forgetting one person! Who's gonna prove that Erica herself has an alibi? Noxus 7, it is forbidden for the detective to be the culprit. Unless she's caught red-handed, you should never be sure and be able to deny the possibility that Aunt Natsuki is innocent. Can you even deny future possibilities like a piece of evidence X that Erica has discovered that proves Natsuki's innocence? Noxus 8, it is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented. This tale is filled with malicious lies! The tale itself has become a trap to capture Natsuki! The tale should be constructed only from impartial truths! Noxus 9, it is permitted for observers to let their own conclusions and explanations be heard. I was the culprit, so maybe I gave George and the others a slow-acting poison to make them die after 2400, and then silently slit their throats when I returned at 3 a.m. I could have done it so quietly that Erica wouldn't hear! Noxus 8, it is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented. Everyone committed the... Everyone ended their own lives, so there's no culprit!
Please allow me to speak. All victims' deaths were homicides.
Erica didn't personally examine the corpses, right? It should be possible for people who aren't the detective to make a mistake when examining corpses. Please allow me to speak. Know that no examination of the corpses could have been mistaken. Then maybe they were body double corpses! They were prepared corpses beforehand that closely resembled the victims!
Know that no corpses exist except for those of the characters who have appeared in the story.
Then how can you claim that Uncle Cross is dead without his corpse? Doesn't that violate Nox's something or whatever? Know that the red truth is simply truth, and there is no need to provide evidence or proof.
What the?
Damn it! In the face of these insane arguments, any attempts to overturn the truth where Aunt Natsuki is created as the culprit are completely meaningless. Each time I brandished my desperate blue truths, Dalnor and the others' red truths knocked me down to the floor. It was getting hard to even stand back up again. Does that mean my body is telling me that I'm about to surrender to the truth where Aunt Natsuki is the culprit? The red truth is getting more and more perfect. Each time I think I can slip through their armor, Dalnor smacks me down with the red longsword of Nox.
Beato. That's enough, battler. Now the endless torture that torments me, no, us, will finally end. Let us fall together into the depths.
I don't want to see Beato like this. Her Majesty is the ruler of the Golden Land. Her enthusiasm as my rival, completely gone. She's just a pitiful woman who's been trampled over and lost all hope, with tears streaming down her face and a tragic smile I can't bear to look at. Does your truth no longer exist? No, I have one. Last thing. And that is a different truth where Natsui isn't the culprit. That's not it. All I can do is prove that that's not it. All I can prove... That's not it. All I can do is prove that Aunt Natsuki isn't the culprit. After that, I can't show what the real truth is at all. But even so, maybe at least you'll be saved that way.
Why?
I can show without a doubt that Aunt Natsuki isn't the culprit. However, I cannot show a different truth. If Erica's truth is dispersed, the crime will return to darkness, and there might still be room for you to exist.
Yeah, if you can do it. But if you can't show a new truth, that means you're incompetent and useless as a player. I'll have you vanish from this game board for all eternity.
At this point, the game master is Lambda Delta, and she is there too. This probably doesn't mean losing a single game, but being banished from this game for all eternity for losing. From what witches have said in the past, I can faintly imagine the place pieces are scented when they're banished. It's known as the depths of oblivion, an eternal darkness that lies on the far side of an eternal oblivion where there is no concept of life or death. I'm going to disappear, aren't I? However, Beato will remain. As long as Beato remains, no matter how suspicious Aunt Natsuki is, there will always remain space for the witch to be the culprit. In other words, room for Aunt Natsuki to not be the culprit. As long as that space exists, someone will eventually expose the truth. It doesn't have to be me. Anyway, eventually, someone will smash this fake truth to pieces. I understood that the time had come to abandon myself for the sake of this person who would eventually appear, for the sake of the real truth. Well, it looks like I'll have to break my promise to kill you after all.
Don't leave me as the only one alive. I'll disappear with you. Let that be your final tribute to me. I beg you, if you just do this one thing, I don't need anything else.
Have you used up everything you have? I really am disappointed in you, Ushinomiya Battler. Quickly perform his requiem. That way I'll have an open field in which to expose Natsui's sin. These guys really are interesting. Beatrice, Ushinomiya Battler.
But I've gotten tired of this. You aren't needed in our game. Do it, Dalnor!
This is the end. If you still have one last bit of power, let me see you muster it now, in your last moments.
It's small, but it's a sparkling red truth. The last trump card that Vergilia gave me. Erica, this takes your theory back to square one.
If you can, why not go ahead?
Take this! Ushinomiya Natsui is not the culprit! The red truth is simply truth with no evidence or proof needed. This will make Dalnor stagger. Even if that's all it does. It's the first and last strike I can make.
Noxus second, it is forbidden for supernatural agencies to be employed as a detective technique.
Huh? My red truth was blown away by Dalnor's red longsword.
In this court, if anyone other than witches is going to speak the red truth, they'll have to construct an appropriate proof for it. Erica's been following this procedure, right?
True. Erica hadn't used the red herself even once so far. She always had Rencastle a witch repeat her statements. Your red truth isn't something you obtain for yourself. It's a supernatural truth given by a poor... Your red truth isn't something you obtain for yourself. It's a supernatural truth given by a paranormal being. In other words, it isn't reasoning. It's no better than a random thought. In that case, if I have Vergilia say the same red truth, where is Vergilia?
If you are to present that red truth, you must construct an appropriate argument. Can you do that?
No, it's impossible. I just have the truth that Aunt Natsui isn't the culprit, without any basis or evidence. See, real truth is a very fragile thing. Does real truth exist? And is it necessary? Even without it, the tale will continue on. Battler.
Come on, Battler. Prove the red that you have shown. If you cannot, this is goodbye.
Then, goodbye. Sorry, Beto. Don't say that. Thanks for sticking around with me. It was such a bloodstained tale, but it was fun.
The trial is now finished. Finished. Finish, 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 Die the death! Sentence to death! The great equalizer is the death! With that, the trial for the 5th game ended. The detective Furuto Erika accused the culprit, Ushiro Miyanatsuki. There are 3 riddles the detective must explain. The first is the whodunit. Who's the culprit? as previously stated, is Ushiro Miyanatsui. The second is the how done it. How did they carry out the crime? During the hour between 24:00 on October 4th, 1986 and 1:00 the next day, Ushiro Miyanatsui went to the cousin's room on the second floor of the guest house and the servant waiting room on the first floor of the mansion. There, she carried out the murders. It is only possible for the crime to have taken place during that hour, and for that 1 hour, alibis have been proven for all characters except Natsuhi. From the sky, a massive red longsword, even greater in size than the one Daonor held, came crashing down like a thunderbolt, piercing through Balor's heart, pinning him in the place while he still stood. In that instant, Beatrice became the golden splash and faded away. Her former minions disappeared as well. As the heartless witches looked down at the cathedral center and laughed coldly, all that remained was Balor, with the red longsword sticking through him and Daonor.
Rest in peace, Ushinomiya Battler. What a shame. I thought you were a more capable person than this.
Balor blew bubbles of blood, closed his eyes slowly, and died. Daonor stared on in silence, and turned on her heels when she saw his life leave him. After that, all that remained was the corpse of this sorrowful man, pierced by the sword that acted as a massive red grave marker, and lit by the faint glow let in from the cathedral skylight. And then there is the third riddle the detective must uncover. The final riddle. The why done it. Why did they commit the crime? The motive. In third-rate mysteries, there is no need to uncover this. After all, even if you don't expose the motive, the culprit would just confess when it's all said and done. However, Furuto Erika was first-rate, so she would even expose this. Natsui was being confined in the parlor, under everyone's watchful gazes. Then Erika made use of everyone to diligently and persistently search in all places, even Natsui's room, for clues about her motive.
Well, now that we have all gathered, just what is it that drove Ushinomiya Natsui to commit these terrible murders? Through my investigation, I, the detective Furuto Erika, have discovered the general outline that explains this. I would like to announce it now.
Everyone remained silent, urging her to continue. Erika tossed some of Natsui's possessions that had been confiscated onto the table.
First, these are the past diaries that are discovered in Natsui's room. They have barely been used at all in the recent years, but they describe in detail the period shortly after she became part of the Ushinomiya family. Most of them were locked, but in order to find the full truth behind this crime, I used my authority, which everyone has acknowledged, to destroy the locks on all of them.
How barbaric! Reading another person's diary. If we're barbaric, does that make... Okay. If we're barbaric, what does that make you, murderer? A criminal like you has no right to privacy.
And this is what I found from these diaries. Natsui ended up married to Kraus due to special circumstances. I imagine that all of you here know much more about this than I do. Natsui and Kraus were not married because of love or as a normal arranged marriage. If anything, it was more like taking a hostage.
That is not true!
This is written on the 24th page of the Red Diary. I am a hostage being imprisoned by the Ushinomiya family under the guise of marriage. However, if anything can be resolved this way... Natsuhi, right here you've already acknowledged that you were a hostage. Kumasawa, you have served Natsui since the first time she came here, right? Could you tell me what it was like at that time?
Yes, that is correct. I did catch wind of something similar to what you describe. I think that by now,
Only Dr. Nanjo and I know the details regarding Madame's marriage. Very true. That was during Kinzo's golden era when he did whatever he pleased. He defeated all of his enemies and expanded his financial power. Natsui's family was one of those enemies. As though the time to talk had suddenly come at hand, Kumasawa and Nanjo openly dwelled into territory that should have never been touched upon again. This was concerning the period during which Kinzo was the most feared for his ferocity. It is said that though Kinzo had many assets and connections, he held a grudge after being looked down upon by members of the elite as being an upstart. Because of this, apparently, Kinzo wanted to find Kraus a wife from a noble family and use this to raise the Ushinomiya family status. Then he overcame Natsui's family with a financial struggle and proposed a marriage be performed as a method of reconciliation. The person he picked was Natsuhi. Natsui had been raised to be clean and pure in a family of Shinto priests, making her a true noble lady. By choosing her, not only did Kinzo cause him the worst possible humiliation, he also won what he considered to be a nice trophy. So that marriage proposal was humiliating to Natsui from the very beginning.
Regarding the aforementioned facts, both Kumasawa and Dr. Nanjo's claims just now match with the contents of the diaries. Therefore, since the time Natsui first took the name Ushinomiya Natsuhi, she held a strong resentment against the Ushinomiya family. What do you have to say, Natsuhi? Do you acknowledge this?
All the cold gazes turned to face Natsuhi. Yes, it's true that I thought that at first. I thought I was being forced into a marriage without love, a hostage under the guise of a bride. However, my husband never viewed me as a mere hostage. He understood what I had gone through and gave me compassion and affection. My husband was the only person who could understand me.
I see. That makes sense. There are many scenes in your diaries showing that Kraus knew of your difficulties and showed kindness. However, on page 47 on this diary, you describe these moments as being unpleasant, correct? Let me read aloud. When Kraus tries to show his kindness, it only makes me feel more wretched. Sometimes I think he might even be trying to humiliate me further. Therefore, we can tell that Natsui repaid her husband's kindness with contempt.
Wait! Yes, I may have thought that at the beginning! Back when I was still overwhelmed with unease, I couldn't accept this kindness and wrote with my distrust from time to time. But I eventually realized he was sincere and grew to accept his feelings.
Well, nothing like that appears in any of these diaries.
I never even wrote it down. Those feelings were so secret.
Judging by many diverse bits of evidence and testimony, it's clear that you despised your husband, and there exists no evidence that you eventually accepted his feelings as you claim.
I love my husband!
You can't find any testimony or evidence that can be used to elevate that statement to the level of red truth, right?
Does anyone need evidence to say that they're in love?
You can't trust anything besides the red truth. Statements that aren't red don't count as evidence at all, and they can't be trusted at all. All non-red letters are falsehoods that exist to deceive me. I love you? Who would believe that when spoken with white text? No non-red words can ever be trusted. All I can trust in this world are red truth and the pieces of evidence I offer to my master to gain it. You lying human who can't speak the truth. Humans lacking the red truth have no right to speak of love or the heart or truth. Did you know? Men aren't as stupid as you women think they are. Men never really take it seriously when a woman says, I love you.
What a pitiful person. I see that you've never truly loved someone.
Romance is unnecessary for a detective. I don't think I ever use the word romance, except to explain a motive for murder.
Yeah, that's what the crying sprite I saw just then said, right? You see that face? You didn't miss it, right? She had tears in her eyes. Anyway, no matter what you say, we loved each other. I should be apologizing to my husband for always writing down my complaints and nothing else. But I have devoted my heart to him. Even if I can't prove it, that is the truth.
Rejected. You just don't know when to give up, do you? By now, due to evidence and testimony, it's clear you hated both your husband and the Ushinomiya family.
That's right! I can't even count the number of times I've heard you complain! Oh, and you've never talked about behind Hideyoshi's back! Damn it, you killed my husband! How dare you say that! Die! Die and apologize to my husband!
Please cease your violence, Ava. This is now the precious moment where I question and convict the culprit. It's not yours, okay? Well then, over the next several years, she appeared to have gotten used to her new way of life. But in actuality, an intense hatred still lurked in her heart. Taking that into consideration, there'd be nothing at odd about her at all, deciding to take revenge.
Don't act like you know what I'm thinking!
Each time Erika read Natsuhi's diaries one after another, she exposed more of Natsuhi's emotions during those pitiful days. Natsuhi hadn't written them to leave those words behind. She had written to forget those memories and seal them away. That's why she had written down her feelings during those painful days, locked them up, and sealed them away for all eternity. However, Erika claimed that these were Natsuhi's true hidden feelings that had been locked away and concealed. Since it had already been concluded that Natsuhi was a murderer, everyone accepted Erika's claim. By this point, the red truth wasn't even necessary to establish Natsuhi's motive. As long as the reason seemed plausible, everyone would believe it. No matter how much Natsuhi might object, no one would believe her. No one could accept the truth Natsuhi spoke of, about the days she had spent loving her husband. That had been painted over by a false truth in which she hated her husband and swore revenge against him. The pen of the gods that composes the truth had been given to Erika.
And so what? Who gives a damn about your past? Murderer! Murderer!
Stop that! I can understand how Natsuhi felt. I always thought this day would come eventually. Poor thing. Poor thing.
I think she's just one of the pitiable victims of father's wild life.
I knew of the pain of Madame's heart. I always tried to support her, but I failed, and look what has happened. I don't even understand the emotions of love and hate. You will someday. It can become a reason to live, and also a reason to kill. Is Aunt Natsuhi really the culprit?
Well, now that you mention it, there is just one person besides Natsuhi that might be the culprit.
What? Hey, are you serious? Why didn't you say something that important sooner?
Natsuhi. The truth is there is one person besides you for whom the crime was possible. If you truly claim that you aren't the culprit, it means that person must be the culprit.
Huh? Who is it? Who?
Ushinomiya Kinzo. Early this morning, Kinzo went outside through the window of the third floor study, and his location is unknown. Isn't that right, Battler? Just like Natsuhi, Kinzo has no alibi whatsoever. The truth is, for this crime, it was possible for Kinzo to be the culprit as well. I just assumed that he never existed in the first place, so I totally forgot about him and just now. Allow me to apologize.
She didn't look shy or apologetic in the slightest. Erika bowed in an unpleasant manner as ever. She had held a grudge ever since her defeat in the study battle.
Natsuhi, you gained Kinzo's trust and are the person served closest to him, right? So shouldn't you know better than anyone else? This incident is actually the crime the family had carried out by the Ushinomiya Kinzo.
You dare call father a criminal?
Don't worry. I prepared more than enough evidence and testimony to explain the why done it if Kinzo is actually the culprit. If you say, for example, that you put yourself on the line to cover for Kinzo's crime, I'm more than capable of supporting you. Ever since the late period of the author, Ellery Queen, even the theory created by the detective can sometimes change the plot itself. You really can't afford to be careless in this day and age.
I won't let you treat father like the culprit!
Natsuhi, calm down and place your hand on your chest and think carefully. If you accuse Kinzo of being the culprit, this entire case will be resolved. You will no longer be held accountable for another person's actions, and your honor will be restored.
In other words, by pushing the crime onto Kinzo, Natsui would be saved. However, no, Natsuhi! You should have done it. Screw Kinzo. Come on, he's a piece of shit. I've been entrusted with the honor of the Ushinomiya family by father. Did you really think that I would defile father's honor, the Ushinomiya family honor, just to clear away the false accusations made against me? Of course, Natsui knew she wasn't the culprit. She also knew that Kinzo wasn't. So being afraid herself and pushing the blame onto Kinzo were both unacceptable and unbearable outcomes.
Are you sure? As I already established quite thoroughly, alibis have been proved for everyone except you. If you will not accuse Kinzo, then this time it really will be clear that you are the culprit. And that will become the truth, right?
If you intend to label me as the culprit and call that your own personal truth, then do whatever you like! I am sure that God knows of my innocence. Eventually he will prove it!
If it came to a choice between her and Kinzo being framed, Natsui would sacrifice herself. Perhaps that was her way of protecting the Ushinomiya family's honor. Aunt Natsuhi.
And I even gave you a chance.
Stupid woman. This future where your name will eventually be cleared doesn't exist for any of you. Not for any of the pieces on this board. Natsui had made her decision. If they were going to call her the culprit, she would let them. She boldly then rejected the thought of selling Kinzo's honor to gain a momentary truth where she wasn't the culprit. And therefore, the tale was woven with her as the culprit. Into the future, if the accusations against her are proven false, this tale will probably be rewritten. However, that future will never come, I think. Truth is a fleeting thing. Even if I'm a good person until my death, if some heartless person after my death overwrites the records and say I wasn't a good person, if that's shared with everyone else, then even all the goodness in which I lived my life could be overwritten easily. And so I think that I won't live as a good person for all eternity.
If you claim that Kinzo was not the culprit, he will need... If you claim that Kinzo was not the culprit, he will need an alibi proving that the crime was impossible for him. Otherwise, we cannot truly be certain that you are the culprit, Natsuhi.
Erika was probably known for a long time. Kinzo was nothing more than an illusion to make the inheritance problem more uncertain. However, it would be very hard to prove that he was an illusion. The only way to do this would be to confirm Kinzo's death. But as has been known by the Red Truth in previous games, Kinzo died a long time ago. In this fifth game, his corpse hasn't even appeared. In a situation like this, it wouldn't be easy to absolutely prove his death. If Kinzo's death was confirmed, it would practically erase the defeat in that study. It was the only way Erika had of removing the humiliation of that loss. There was something that could confirm Kinzo's death almost as certainly as real proof, and that was the confession of the culprit. It would mean that Natsuhi herself acknowledged that Kinzo no longer existed in this world. That way it would be acknowledged that Erika's reasoning in the study was correct. That loss would be painted over and it would be rewritten as Erika's victory. Valor hung suspended by Dalnor's red longsword. Beato had disappeared by having her existence denied. And her minions had gone too. In this cathedral that they had disappeared from, only Natsui and the witches convicting her remained.
So, you still claim that Kinzo is alive and remains somewhere on this island?
That's correct! Father is in good health! No matter what anyone says, I will not change my statement!
The Red Truth from the previous games say that Kinzo's already dead. But that's not enough to satisfy you, right, Burn?
Yeah, that's right. I'm after a perfect victory. So there's nothing interesting about getting a checkmate just because Kinzo's death has been confirmed by the Red. I want to win by forcing Natsui to say she's resigned.
Then why don't you try it? Show us what you've got. My My master, let us now achieve a perfect victory.
Of course. Natsuhi, you say Kinzo is certainly alive, but you don't know where he is, correct? Yes, that's right. Father left through the window, and his location is unknown. He is so troublesome sometimes. Lambda, I'm going to make Kinzo's location from 2400 until the morning absolutely clear. From 2400 until morning, Kinzo stayed in the same room.
Huh? Well, that's true. He was a corpse after all. No, I'm sorry. That's right. That's totally right. I won't bet in. It sounds interesting, so keep going.
From now on, I'll use the word Kinzo to refer to the living. From now on, I'll use the word Kinzo to refer to the living Kinzo. After all, Natsui claims that he's alive. I'll say more with the red truth. Kinzo does not exist anywhere outside the mansion. Isn't that right, Erika?
Yes, my master! I searched for Kinzo all over the premises outside the mansion. However, I was unable to find him. Because of the detective's authority, Erika could find all clues.
Oops. Because of the detective's authority, Erika could find all clues. Therefore, if Erika was unable to find a hint that Kinzo existed outside the mansion, it was the same as proving that Kinzo didn't exist outside the mansion. Therefore, Bercastle repeated the truth of Erika's.
Kinzo does not exist outside the mansion. Hey, Natsuhi. If Kinzo does exist, then does that mean he's somewhere inside the mansion? Do you have any idea where Kinzo might be hiding?
How could I know? After all, think of the weather. There would be nothing strange about him leaving the courtyard to hide somewhere in the mansion and dry the rain off.
From this point forward, I will repeat the same thing several times. I will give you many chances for an honorable surrender. If you're too stubborn, you'll lose even your true honor.
No matter how you threaten me, I will not give in!
I just love teasing pieces like you. Then let's continue.
For the aforementioned reasons, it is unthinkable that Kinzo could have been somewhere outside the mansion. So first off, I performed an extensive search of the third floor where the study is.
However, there wasn't nowhere he would be hiding. You couldn't find any trace of him down the third floor.
So then, where is he, Natsuhi?
I don't know! If he isn't on the third floor, perhaps he's hiding in the basement.
Ah, yes, the basement. The boiler room, that underground storage room. Every part of your suspicious basement was also included in my search.
Yes, I searched it too! I didn't see Father anywhere!
I'll say it again. Where is Kinzo, Natsuhi?
In that case, he's probably on the first floor or the second floor.
I see. Process of elimination does tell us that, doesn't it? Well, then we'll thoroughly search the first floor. And the result?
Nothing. We were unable to find Father.
I'll say it again. Where was Kinzo, Natsuhi?
Then he was probably hiding on the second floor! How should I know where Father was hiding?
Are you sure about that? Do you really not know where Kinzo was hiding?
Madame knows where Kinzo was hiding!
That's insane.
That can't be true!
Both Shannon and Kano knew that Kinzo was already dead, so they didn't have a clue how Erika would use a phantom of a person who didn't exist to corner Natsuhi.
Kinzo is nowhere outside the mansion. Kinzo isn't on the third floor. Kinzo isn't in the basement. Kinzo isn't on the first floor. Therefore, the only place Kinzo could possibly exist is the second floor.
I accept that red truth. Natsuhi, Kinzo should be somewhere on the second floor. Will you still not tell us where he's hiding?
No matter how many times you ask, it won't change the fact that I don't know!
Erika, start from the beginning and go in order, investigating the entire second floor. Use the detective's authority to avoid missing a single clue, and see through all the hidden doors and hidden rooms.
Yes, my master! That Natsuhi's pretty dumb, isn't she? She still can't see where we're going with this.
No need to talk more than is necessary. Come on, Erica. Take everyone with you and begin the investigation.
Oh, here comes my least favorite part. This is not a good time for me. Hold on.
Natsuhi used her detective's authority to make everyone, except even Natsuhi, go up to the second floor to search every room starting at one end. Even for the rooms that were thought to have nothing at all to do with the crime, Erica did not relax her search in the slightest. Her search was thorough in every room as they moved through them all. So you still won't tell us where Kinzo is hiding?
Stop saying that! How many times do I have to say that I don't know?
Natsuhi, even if we do keep searching, we'll never be able to find Kinzo at this rate, right?
Of course. Kinzo doesn't exist. No matter how long the search continues, it's just a waste of time. This is known by Erica, the witch's piece, and Natsuhi, the one who knew the truth.
In this case, the search will end in the room at the far end of that corridor. In other words, it'll have proven that Kinzo wasn't in any of the rooms except that one. What do you think about that?
Uh-oh.
He isn't on the third floor or the first floor of the basement, and he isn't in any of the rooms on the second floor except the one at the end. So if he really did exist inside the mansion, it had been proven that he could only exist in the room at the end.
In other words, this was Hempel's Raven. Because it had been established that a living Kinzo couldn't exist anywhere except the final room at the end of the corridor, that automatically meant that the living Kinzo existed in that final room. The room at the end of the corridor was...
Which room was it at the end of the corridor again?
Lambda Delta was munching on a refill of popcorn.
That's Natsuhi's room, Lady Lambda Delta!
In other words, Kinzo had no place to hide except inside Natsuhi's room. Do I need to say it in red?
Of course!
Kinzo does not exist anywhere outside Natsuhi's room.
Well then, that means this room is the only place left. It means Kinzo isn't anywhere outside this room.
Isn't this my room? Where exactly in my room do you claim Father is hiding?
In a rage, Natsuhi unlocked the door to her room and pointed inside. Of course, Kinzo was nowhere to be seen.
Do you see Father anywhere in here? Look!
I see. It looks like he isn't there. Did he realize we were coming to escape out the window?
If Kinzo wasn't in this last room, it meant he didn't exist anywhere. There was no living Kinzo outside the mansion. There was no living Kinzo inside the mansion. Therefore, no living Kinzo existed. However, Erica didn't make that argument. She pointed that out herself without making a checkmate. It was because Erica didn't want to win by courting Natsuhi with the red truth. She wanted to force Natsuhi to accept a humiliating resignation. I have not only been searching for Kinzo himself all this time. I've been looking for signs that Kinzo hid somewhere between 2400 and the morning, and no such signs have existed. In other words, from 2400 until morning, Kinzo was always holed up in the same room. And that was Natsuhi's room.
It means the checkmate of the red truth has finally cornered the piece known as Kinzo's phantom inside Natsuhi's room.
Hey Natsuhi, this means you were with Kinzo in this room until morning. Do you still claim that you don't know where he was? I acknowledge
it with the red truth. During the night between 2400 and morning, a living Kinzo could not have existed anywhere outside Natsui's room. I permit you to use this truth to advance your argument about how he couldn't have only existed in Natsui's room.
A plea bargain. Hey, Natsui. Even someone as stupid as you must have realized the fix you're in now. This is your last chance. Make Kinzo the culprit. Call the Ushinomiya family head a criminal and crush the head's honor to protect yourself. If you show that you have the guts to do that, I'll change the plot into one of the tragic heroine taking the blame to protect the family head. Father is innocent! I cannot recall Father a criminal.
She refused the deal! Okay, Burn. Do it! No, I hate this part.
During the night between 2400 and morning, there exists no place for a living Kinzo to exist except inside your bed.
What? And what do you mean by that? After conducting a thorough search of this room and a detailed scientific examination, I discovered that Kinzo did not exist anywhere in this room between 2400 and morning. However, your bed is the only exception. A shocked silence dominated the room. Natsui completely forgot to close her open mouth. Last night, around the time the gold was discovered, so probably around 2300, Kinzo escaped from the window on the 3rd floor and snuck into your bed in your room. And as an even more unfortunate result from my investigation, it's been proven that you were also sleeping in that bed.
I'll repeat it. From 2400 until morning, a living Kinzo could only have existed inside Natsui's bed. And last night Kinzo also slept. Oh wait. I'll repeat it. From 2400 until morning, a living Kinzo could only have existed inside Natsui's bed. And last night, Natsui also slept in that same bed.
Wow! Look how close they were! So you two were so close to each other, you slept sharing the same pillow?
Blue truth. Therefore, it's suspected that Ushinomiya Natsui and Ushinomiya Kinzo had sexual relations with each other. Why else would a man and a woman share the same bed all night long?
How rude! To think that I would do such a thing with the father I respected so much! I won't allow you to say such things! Natsui, use that red truth to counter this blue truth. Of course, since you aren't a witch, there's no red that you can use. So I'll speak with the red truth in your place. At least I will if you can show me some convincing proof. How could such proof even exist? How low are you willing to sink to mock me? Damn it! Natsui tried to attack Erika, but Ava pinned her arms behind her back so she couldn't do anything. How unslightly! In order to take revenge against the Ushinomiya family, you first schemed to take control of everything the family owned. For what reason you used your body as a weapon and ensnared Kinzo? I never did anything of the sort! I've never given up my body to anyone except my husband! I understand why you want to deny it, but testimony from several witnesses has already made it clear that you've had repeated secret meetings with Kinzo. After all, last night you went to say goodnight to Kinzo, with just the two of you alone in his study, right? And beyond that, I've collected multiple bits of testimony regarding clear traces of sexual intercourse. Are you insane? Who was it? Who said something so ridiculous? Goda? Shannon? Was it Ava? Yes, you must be behind something so ridiculous! Who was it? Who? Ah! I've received testimony from those involved. Wow, this is pretty fatal. No room for doubt now.
Hey, Natsuki. It looks like you don't even have a scrap of honor left now. But I'll give you one final chance before I build you the worst possible of all fragments. Go ahead and say that Kinzo wasn't there, okay?
That's right! You sure are stubborn, Natsuki. The Ushinomiya family's already been torn to ribbons, right? Are you really that desperate to confuse the inheritance problem by pretending Kinzo exists?
This is my final challenge in protecting the honor of the Ushinomiya family, which father entrusted me with. My husband's business will definitely succeed. We can use that to repay our debts. I cannot hand over the inheritance of the Ushinomiya family. I will protect father and my husband's honor. That is my mission.
Wanting to protect the honor of the dead is an admirable trait.
He's not one of the dead. We're talking about the honor of a convenient delusion inside Natsui's head. The real Kinzo never once ordered Natsui to protect that honor.
As Natsui screamed, she fell down to her hands and knees. She no longer had any way to reject the fake truth that Brinkastel and Erika weave. By my name as Game Master Lambda Delta, I acknowledge Lady Brinkastel as victor of this game. If anyone has had any objections, state your name now.
Oh shit. No. I hate this. This is awful. Alright. Help.
What the hell?
I'm sorry.
Okay. Of course there were none. All those who might have objected had been erased. No objections! Burn, this is your victory, and a wonderful victory it is! Now you must be able to fragment the truth!
Oh my god. Sure. I'll go weave up the truth. This is the truth of this sad, pathetic tale. Though I did want Natsui to acknowledge her crime while half laughing, half crying. After all, that's standard in the genre, right?
Okay, I'm gonna read the portion of the last chapter. At least the part that... After being forced into a marriage she hadn't wanted, Natsui developed a grudge against the Ushinomiya family and was filled with a desire for revenge. From the trial synopsis, page 3. Natsui, also hoping to take revenge for the financial submission for her family, had been forced into the Ushinomiyas, schemed to capture the Ushinomiya family's wealth. From the trial synopsis, page 4. Knowing that the wealth of the Ushinomiya family was in practical terms under Kinzo's personal control, she initiated sexual relations to curry favor with him and managed to ensnare him. From the trial page, synopsis 7. From Brinkastel Docs, page 682. To curry favor with Kinzo, Natsui repeatedly imitated Beatrice, the witch of Kinzo's delusions, and engaged in sexual acts. Kinzo saw his long-lost mistress in Natsuhi and was easily ensnared. Furthermore, by chance, she was sometimes witnessed in disguise by the servants, and this became part of the foundation of the legend of the witch. From trial page synopsis 8. From this presented evidence number 17. From Brinkastel Docs, page 802. However, late at night, October 4th, 1986, Ushinomiya Balor discovered the hidden gold. The relatives were in an uproar and decided that Balor should succeed the headship, so Natsui planned the crime. She murdered the children in the so-called cousin room and tried to frame Balor for the crime. Furthermore, Genji was murdered for opposing the scheme. Later on, Hideyoshi was also murdered. From this point on, she displayed the strong intent to indiscriminately murder all those involved. From the trial page synopsis 27, from the supplemental materials B, page 61, from Brinkastel Docs, page 1103. The following outlines the details of this crime. 2400, October 4th, 1986. Natsui decided to commit the crime. She asked Genji to assist her, but was refused, so she murdered him. She then murdered her husband and crossed in his own room. From trial page synopsis 40, from supplemental materials S, page 8, from Brinkastel's Docs, page 1105, from the GC Internal Docs, General Affairs A09, number 9974. Afterwards, she went to the so-called cousin room on the second floor of the guest house, waited for Rosa to join the rest, and killed George, Jessica, and Rosa. She damaged the necks of those corpses. Oh. My phone probably fell. That's what the sound was. Sorry. Afterwards, there were people in the lounge on the first floor. She waited in the empty room on the second floor, and she hid this empty room until the people in the lounge dispersed and went to bed. From the Charleston office, page 41. From supplemental materials S, page 10. From Castle Docs, page 131. From GC Internal Docs General Affairs A09, number 9974. The people in the lounge dispersed just after 3 a.m. Natsu left the empty room and escaped from the guest house. She returned to her personal room where she met up with Kinzo, who had been hiding there. She stayed there until morning. Kinzo left the room early next morning and concealed himself somewhere near the guest house. From the trial synopsis, page 41. From supplemental materials S, page 29. From the Castle Docs, page 1200. From GC Internal Docs General Affairs A09, number 9974. Afterward, Kinzo saw his chance and carried off the corpses of the 6 victims one by one, hiding them. Unfortunately, these hidden corpses have not been found. From the trial page synopsis, page 42. From supplemental materials S, page 37. From GC Internal Docs General Affairs A09, number 9974. Natsu had failed her scheme to cast suspicion on Ballard, changed her plan to include the murder of all present. From the trial synopsis, page 58. From supplemental materials C, page 19. From the Burn Castle Docs, page 1348. From GC Internal Docs General Affairs A09, number AA9974. Predicting that one of these present would eventually want to take a rest in the private room, Natsu concealed herself inside a closet in one of the guest rooms. At about 1 p.m., she murdered Hideyoshi after he entered the room. From the trial page synopsis, page 61. From supplemental materials T's, page 26. From GC Internal Docs General Affairs A09, number 9974. From the time the others became aware of the incident to the time they carried away Hideyoshi's corpse, Natsu once again concealed himself in the closet. Furthermore, it was proved that a button from Natsu's clothes was found in the closet. Afterwards, she left the closet and tried to return to her room. However, Furuta and Erica found and questioned her first, and she confessed to the crime. From the page trial synopsis 63, the supplemental materials T, page 32. From presented evidence 26, from the Burden Castle documents, page 1348. From Lana Delta Docs, line 7. From GC Internal Docs General Affairs A099974. From GC Internal Docs first subsection U99, numbers 0107. From GC Official Notice, number 0172. Yes, I'm reading all of these. 24434. GC Official Notice, number 0127. Number 01724434. Due to the result of the illusion trial, number 0147-007982, 2400, October 5th, 1986, we announce the following has been determined. That Ushimi Natsu did admit to her crime. For the 13 months following this announcement, related docs may be perused as the Great Legal Court Office's Document Management Center First Subsection. Great Court Deputy Chief, Head Inquisitor of Heresy, Dalmori Knox. Okay, so we're gonna finish this now. Alright. We'll read the rest of the chapter later. Alright? Oops! My bad! And then we're gonna end the stream.